Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Anthony Gargano Show right here on PHLY. I am Jon Marks in for Anthony this week. And today's show, sponsored by Rite Aid. Your favorite goods from the store nearest you. Find all your favorite goods from the store nearest you. Rite Aid. Well, the whole crew is here this morning. VG, JP, Mr. Frazier, and Versace's even here this morning. And we have a lot to talk about. So it's day two of the day after, right? So the day after a big story happens, it's reaction, everybody's excited. But then you get to digest it, and then the day after, which is what I like the most, because now you've had a chance to think about it. So what does everybody think about the 76ers acquiring Paul George? Now, just straight up, it's a home run for the 76ers, because at this point, what would the other move have been? What would the alternative have been, right? Like, Daryl Morey designed this. He actually designed this to happen. He's trying to go star hunting. He went star hunting. Brett Brown tried to go star hunting. It didn't work. Daryl Morey said, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to try to win. And he went star hunting, and he got Paul George. So he got his star. The question I have is that the right strategy? Because we've seen in previous years teams that haven't went star hunting and have won. Now, you got to take it back all the way to the Celtics back in 2008. And I don't know if it was by design at that point, but they went out and got Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen, added them to Paul Pierce, had a good contributing cast around them, and they won a championship. That's kind of the first team that had the big three, which is now what the 76ers have in Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George. And then, of course, LeBron and the Heat teams. And that became the model for what teams wanted to do across the National Basketball Association. You get the stars, you complement them with veteran players, but you need the big three. You need the all-stars, and that's how you do it. Now, not done as much anymore, right? Like the Celtics, are they a big three? Are they considered the star hunting team? Are they the super team? Well, they have Jaylen Brown and they have Jason Tatum. Two all-stars. Jason Tatum's one of the best, if not the best player in the league. And then they added Drew Holiday to him. And that was, like he was a veteran player that was out there. But they also have a deep team of players that were drafted by the team, of other players that were added. So that doesn't have that big team or that super team feel to it like the Heat or the Celtics or some of these other teams. But Daryl Morey still elected to do it. And, we'll find out if it's going to work. And we'll get into it coming up here on the show today. Derek Bodner is going to join us at 9:25. The coach, Jim Lynam, at 10 o'clock. We'll discuss all of it. But let's pop off. We're popping off with Olipop. Find your favorite Olipop flavor at your nearest Wawa. And here's what we're talking about. It's the Sixers. And again, I just want to make this clear. At this point, Daryl Morey and the move with Paul George, it's a no-brainer. It's a home run for the 76ers. But is it the way to really construct the team? So if you go back and you look, all right, at some teams where it worked, we talked about them, right? Celtics, Heat, the Cavs. I don't really consider the Warriors mildly a super team. They were a super team, and they did add some pieces from outside the organization, but they also had a lot of homegrown talent. Right now, we're looking at Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid for the 76ers. But what about since then, right? Remember when the Nets acquired Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant? I remember looking at the odds. I remember going to Bet Parks and being like, wow, like how can the Nets possibly not win a title? Well, you can see how the Nets didn't win a title. It's a lot more difficult to put a championship team on the floor in reality than it is on paper. Everybody would agree that that team was going to win something, was going to win a title, maybe even more than one title. It's not that easy. You look at you look at some of the other teams that were here that did it. How about Damian Lillard and Giannis this year? You had the start of the star. How could they possibly not win? And look at them. They were out of the playoffs early. So just the 76ers adding Paul George doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be any better in the end. An Eastern Conference Finals at this point even would feel like an accomplishment just to get over that hump in year one of Paul George. But you're going to have the New York Knicks. And the Knicks are built the exact opposite of the way that the 76ers are built. Yeah, they went out and got Jalen Brunson, but that was kind of a under-the-radar move. I know some teams wanted him, and he got paid good money, but no one looked at that move by the Knicks and said, wow, like the Knicks are a real contender right now, but they built a team around him. And the one problem or the one question I have about the 76ers team is the big three, and then what? And that's what we'll talk to Derek Bodner coming up here at 9:25 about. What can the 76ers do at this point? And they re-signed Oubre. That's a good move. They have Eric Gordon coming off the bench. But when I look at teams that I would construct and how I would build it, I'd be looking for a true team. I'd be looking for players that have played together for a number of years. I want to switch sports and bring up the Yankees of the 90s. Because the Yankees of the 90s was built not with stars, not with big money free agents, but were built with homegrown players. And then they surrounded those players with a guy like Paul O'Neill that almost anybody could have had in Major League Baseball. That was a trade. Scott Brocious retread. Tina Martinez, a guy that had been with another organization before that. You had Bernie Williams, you had Derek Jeter, you had Andy Pettitte. You had good young talent, and then they added in pieces with smart moves. That's not what the 76ers are doing right now. The 76ers have their two players, and now they're trying to fill in the rest with three players now, but now they're trying to fill in the rest. Remember when the Yankees tried to go out and buy championships, as in like the last 15 years? They won in 2009. That's where they went wrong. It's very difficult to buy a championship in sports. And Daryl Morey has elected to go for the model that teams were using 15 years ago, 10 years ago, which was super team, add veteran pieces or draft picks around it, and that's what we're going to do. We'll find out if it's going to work. But when I look at the Knicks, when I look at the Celtics, I see teams that are deep and are built more as a team than as top-heavy as they are. Problem is the Celtics have top-heavy talent, and they have a lot of good role players as well. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's still exciting. It is. And just to be honest, I'm not – you got to give Daryl Morey credit because ultimately he got his player. But the question to me is, was this really the right strategy? Because it feels like it's the only thing that Daryl Morey even thought that he could do was try to build a super team, and he got Paul George. We'll see if it ends up working out. But the guys are with me, VG, JP. I know they're still licking their wounds last night, or at least JP is, because actually JP's not even a U.S. soccer fan. And we know VG isn't either, but the U.S. lost to Uruguay last night. And I don't even know what it was. Some tournament.
Copacabana.
Yeah, you were very into the game last night. I had Paw Patrol on my TV at home.
Nice.
You guys were texting about.
You're probably better off.
Games. Yes, but USA got blanked on a very controversial goal or an offsides penalty or something like that. I didn't see any of it. I just read this.
They got blanked on mediocre play, but there's a questionable goal by is it Uruguay?
Yeah, Uruguay.
So there were some questions with everything.
I didn't have any question.
You
I was
did
on
not.
the winning side of that last night,
So you bet against your country.
Yeah, I follow Brad's best bets. You got to follow the money. You can't bet with your heart.
Dude, this is my problem with our country right now. Dude, we're in one of the biggest tournaments in the world, and no one cares. You were telling us you were at the bar last night. Nobody could care about this game.
Quizzo. They're more worried about
We're so proud of this country, but yet we don't support our soccer team?
It's not the World Cup, though.
Yeah.
This is Copa America. This is huge.
I don't even know honestly, if I wasn't on this show yesterday, I wouldn't even have known any of this was happening. And that's the people that are playing Quizzo at your bar. There's people that are coming out, they're annoyed that there's even a soccer game on because they want to know, some art category or something. Yeah. They think they have the right answer to it.
What female artist had five number one hits in 5 different decades? Right. And they're more worried about that than the offsides call.
Oh, come on. You guys are killing Frazier right now. Frazier was the one that was.
Andrew Frazier, I know you're very upset. You came in here this morning. You were dragging. You weren't feeling good.
We had to give him a hug.
Controversial call. Oh. Bad reffing.
It's actually a little embarrassing. We're the host nation, and we don't even get to the knockout round.
Dude, they didn't even give him the home locker room yesterday in Kansas City. They gave him the away one. Uruguay got the nice plush.
So what do you get if you win this tournament? Just a ribbon?
Harry Manilow comes and sings for you.
Or a trophy or something?
Let me tell you what, John. There's obviously the big trophies that I want, right? Like the Super Bowl, Lombardi Trophy, the World Series, Stanley Cup, right? And then it's the Copa America. It's so important.
You don't even care. You said our team. You said you guys. You got your own squad.
Yeah, who are you rooting for?
Vamos Colombia, ganar hoy, hueputa.
Right, as you should. A couple years ago, I tried to because I'm of some Scottish descent. I tried to root for Scotland in a World Cup, but I think
John,
they were bounced pretty early.
They've had the best fan base in the Euros, and I feel so bad that they couldn't do anything. They had the best fans.
All right, well,
can we talk about the real USA disappointment this week?
What?
Not only did they lose in Japan earlier, the Football International American Football Association Championships under 20, USA lost in the bronze medal match this week to Austria, 32-25.
Oh man, damn!
In American football.
How does this happen, VJ? We gotta watch these games, dude.
Who is on our team?
We need Baldy to break this down for us.
Brutal.
Nobody.
Brutal week for the American squads.
Nobody's on the team.
Man.
All right, so let me ask you guys what I said at the start.
Yes.
I think there was a time where I would have been, this is exactly what you should do. I mean, we had the process after all. The process was so you had as many assets, as many lottery tickets as you could possibly have, and then some of those lottery tickets are going to cash in. It feels like Daryl Morey used that same type of strategy to where if you have cap space, it's not guaranteeing you a player, but it's guaranteeing you a shot if there's a player that's there. Now, a lot needs to go in favor of you. There needs to be a player that wants to come. There needs to be teams that aren't interested. It was weird that really there was no competition for Paul George. The Clippers really didn't want to keep him. It seemed like the Clippers made him an offer he knew he was going to refuse. Right? You're only offering him 3 years. You know that fourth year is going to be out there. And if you really want him, you give him the fourth year. What does it matter? Right? But they didn't. And then there really weren't any other teams that were ready to step up. So I think Paul George, all else being equal, would have loved to do a sign and trade with a West Coast team. I don't know who that is. I don't know if that would be the Lakers or the Warriors or even one of the other teams or Dallas but he was willing to come to Philly. Now I'm just being honest. I don't look at Philadelphia as a destination NBA city. And I'm not saying that because I don't love Philadelphia. I mean, it really hasn't been over the years. Elton Brand is really the one big free agent that came to Philly. Remember the Philly Max with Elton Brand? That didn't work out well, right? But that was also because Elton Brand, that was the one place he could go to get that Philly Max. Otherwise, I don't think Elton Brand would have been here. But it doesn't matter because you still get the player. But still, I don't know when I look around the NBA, when you look at the good teams in the NBA, are the Nuggets a super team? Were they built to be hey, let's be really top heavy and then fill in the rest? No, their best players are draft picks, right? And then you need to make smart moves. But I just, that's my reaction the day after is, I don't know if I would have built it like this. I don't know if I would have been going for, I would almost rather have two really good players like a DeMar DeRozan and another player than one Paul George. You guys agree? Disagree? How do you feel the day after?
I don't think Morey had much of a choice with the situation he walked into. I think this is the only way he could make us competitive and actually compete for an Eastern Conference championship and an NBA championship. I don't buy. I mean, the Nuggets are an anomaly. This Celtics team, I'm not buying into this role player bit. They have two studs. And they added what we've talked about as a future Hall of Famer in Drew Holiday. He's not a role player. They added Al Horford, who sucked here, but he's like a 5 or 6 time All-Star. That guy's a legit NBA above-average player. And Porzingis is a former All-Star.
Yeah, but he was scrap heaved. He couldn't stay healthy.
Of course.
Anybody in the NBA could have had him. That's a smart move. Peyton Pritchard is like a great shooting role player, right? Al Horford, role player.
He's not. He's more than a role player. He was a role player here.
But they're still just because they're starters doesn't mean they're role players.
He's an all-star.
Al Horford has been an all-star since you were in your 30s, probably. Well, maybe not.
He wasn't even in the league then.
No, but it's not a super team. Do we agree with that? It's not a super team.
I don't think.
I think you're discounting Drew Holiday.
They're a very talented team. They're a very talented team. They're not built super team.
Yeah,
they didn't. The Celtics. Here's what I'm saying. The Celtics didn't have the idea of, hey, we need to get 3 superstars, and then we're going to fill in the roster with just veteran minimum players or whoever.
How does the league look at Drew
strategy.
Holiday, though? Like, do the league look at Drew Holiday as a superstar? Because, like, it's weird how people talk about him. Because, like, obviously, like, 2 finals, in the last 3 seasons? So, obviously, you got to put stock in that. But is he a superstar? He does certain things really well, but to be in that superstar echelon?
He's a winning player. That's what the Sixers need. The Sixers need more winning players.
You guys are acting like he's Rajah Bell, and they added him. I mean, come on. Drew Holiday is he's
why
a future Hall of Famer.
Okay, then why didn't the Sixers go out and get Drew Holiday?
I don't know. They don't have the cap space. They don't have the room.
Because they wanted Paul George. They didn't want Drew Holiday.
Because Drew Holiday is not going to put them over himself. Doesn't fit the team needs here. We need a Paul George. We need someone who puts up 25 points a game.
See, that's where I totally disagree. You need a team here. Like what they're doing is they're putting together a bunch of individuals. That's what you do with the super teams. Like I feel like you need to lose as a team. You need to take those steps as a team to where you're really building character to where like then it becomes personal. Like we're not losing them again. Now you have Maxey and Embiid. Paul George comes over on a max contract. And you have a bunch of guys that are just coming here for a year because it's their best chance to chase a championship. I don't know, man. They don't do like
Drew Holiday doesn't space the floor here. We need someone who spaces the floor with Embiid, and Paul George does that. Drew Holiday's not going to help space the floor here. He doesn't. He's not going to complement this team the way he does with Boston.
Yeah, I mean, think about it too, Mac. I mean, you're talking about that backcourt, right? You know, we were just killing the Sixers because of the McCain selection because now your backcourt's really small. As much as we love Drew Holiday, if he hypothetically was here, you're still talking about another small backcourt. And I think the big thing of why Boston worked with their, you know, whatever you want to call them, their 3, or even if you if you want to look at some of the big 3s in the history, you look at the 2010 Miami Heats, right? Like they had their big 3, but it's all about buying in. And a lot of the successful teams, it's all about buying in. Those teams, look, Dwayne Wade, he relegated to like that 2nd, 3rd star, right? And he knew when he needed to do something in particular, he would go out and do it. But you look at some of the role players on those Miami Heat teams. You know, everyone talks about that Ray Allen shot. You do need that depth, and obviously Sixers are still trying to build out this team. We'll see with what they have. We'll have Derek Bodner on to kind of break that down for us. But they still need to build out this team, and we need to find out these guys are fully bought in, including the guy you just spent $212 million over 4 years at Paul George.
We're bringing up the Knicks. I mean, let's be honest. If Paul George is here, they win. If Toby was half the player that people thought he was, they win. If the Sixers are healthy, they win. They don't need role players in depth. They need health. If Embiid stays healthy, which is the hardest thing to do, if Embiid is healthy, they roll through the Eastern Conference until they get to Boston.
No, you're spot on, man.
I totally disagree. This team.
What are you talking about? How many games against the Knicks were decided by like 5 or less points?
This team, last year didn't have enough talent to win anything. All right, they were not talented enough. I mean, Jesus, you needed a Batum to carry you in some of these games. Are you crazy? They didn't have talent to win.
And why is that? Because Toby was a no-show.
Because Toby stinks. You're right. No,
right.
but
so they swapped out Toby for Paul George.
But they need talent. But they also need championship players on this team. Who's the championship player on this team? Who's going to teach Joel Embiid how to win? Paul George? How's Paul George ever won?
You could get an additional veteran like later in the year.
I think you're discounting the intangibles of what it takes to be a championship.
Who did the Bucks
team.
have that had a championship pedigree when they won?
Well, I mean, but they had pieces that fit. I guess
they played winning.
They played piece of fit. We don't.
And
need
they also
the winner.
played winning basketball too.
But they also won too, right?
No, we definitely need to win for sure.
mean, you have to think about last year when Embiid was healthy, they were rolling.
Dude, it was like a 16-game winning streak they won.
Man, they've been rolling in the regular season for how many years?
40, how many games did they win? 40 with Embiid missing like over half the season.
But VG, we've seen them do this in the regular season before. It doesn't mean squat. The regular season doesn't mean squat.
Postseason. In Paul George's last 36 playoff games, he scored single digits once. 36 last games. Toby, 3 out of his last 6 playoff games, he scored single digits. This is not the same player. You add that scoring to this roster in the playoffs, they're a different machine.
I'm still telling you it's not likely that they win anything. It's not likely they go to the NBA Finals. It's not.
I mean, Boston's they got to compete with Boston. Are they there yet? No, but they're there with the Knicks. I don't see the Knicks as a problem. And you know who else doesn't?
I do.
Parks. Because Parks now has the Sixers even with the Knicks. Yesterday they were slightly behind. Now they're both plus 400 to win the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think they should be even. based on their basic. But it's also like the
And
Knicks.
they don't even have a full roster yet.
But
Yeah.
what I was saying earlier, you look at the Knicks. The Knicks at one point I think were trying to go star hunting, but you know what ended up doing? They added a guy like Josh Hart, DiVincenzo. Now you're talking about Bridges. They didn't add all-star players. They added really good players. I'd rather have two really good players that are going to say, I'm not losing. We're not losing this game than Paul George. You can regurgitate numbers for how many points Paul George has scored in the playoffs. He's never been to a freaking final. All right, that Clippers team's another example of star hunting. They went star hunting. What'd they win? Squat. They had Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, James Harden, Westbrook. They had every star they could possibly have. They won un gas.
You can't
as
compare
Anthony would
that
say.
collection of lunatics.
We also
to Embiid and Max.
but
I
we
mean,
were
those
also
guys are head cases.
we were also killing them for the Jalen Brunson deal, and that worked out pretty well.
And JP, it's a great point because I said, oh, yeah, you're not going to get your money with Jalen.
I said the
Brunson.
same thing.
You overpaid him. Should have stayed in Dallas. Nope. He developed into a really good player. I hate to sound like
So
a Knicks
annoying.
fan here, but I got to wish that was our roster there, BG.
He's
the
like,
Knicks.
and here's
No,
Brunson hanging
you
out.
You would be a Nova sympathizer.
I am a Nova sympathizer, yes. I went to Temple and I rooted for Nova for all those teams because I know what a winner looks like, and that ain't Temple. Sorry, folks.
Oh, dude,
That's
it hurts,
Villanova.
man.
He's been
Jay Wright.
he's been to 3 Eastern Conference Finals. That's more than anyone the Sixers has been.
No,
too.
agreed. Don't get it twisted. It's a good move by Daryl Morey. This team is significantly better, at least on paper, significantly better today than they were with Tobias Harris. I have much more confidence, and I'm saying now I'm looking could this team make the Eastern Conference Finals? Yeah, absolutely. They better. They're the co-favorite to at least make the finals, depending on the Eastern Conference Finals, at least depending on the matchups and everything.
According to the experts at the great site Bet Parks.
Exactly right. Bet Parks and Brad the Brain's going to join us coming up here at 7:45. We'll talk about some of that stuff. All right. Well,
Man, guys. I don't like the vibe in here right now.
Whoa.
I feel like I'm with a bunch of Boston guys.
I was siding with you, VG.
like I had said yesterday, I allowed everybody to listen. I've been doing this a long time. The day after, you have to let people have their happiness. Then you can try to take it away from them the day after that. So yesterday, you had your happiness. And I allowed people to celebrate it because you should celebrate it. It's a good move. I'm just telling you, Daryl Morey's more of a fraud than a good GM. Straight up. He's a one-trick pony, and this was his trick. And it worked. But he's going to win. He's going to win. VG, you brought up a couple minutes ago, you said that Morey came in. Morey came into a pretty damn good situation. With Joel
Ben Simmons?
Well, I mean,
Al Horford
deal.
You had a team that was just removed from being very close to going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Was a very good team. They were a very good team. Would you not agree with that?
I mean, what
No,
Daryl
they
Morey
were a
inherited was
flawed
not
team.
good. You had
Yeah.
Ben Simmons and Josh Richardson backcourt. You had Al Horford and Joel Embiid Twin Towers.
But he contributed to breaking Ben Simmons. Daryl Morey did.
I think
Ben Simmons
that was all
been
him,
broken.
man.
All right, I'll give you that. He was broken.
That was all him,
All right.
man.
I'll give you that. No, but Daryl Morey's also the idiot at a press conference that came out, didn't know how to answer a question about Ben Simmons coming back. He's surprised.
I'm not a huge Eel fan, but I think he's done okay. And
I like what he did this offseason
I'm kind
so
of
far.
we're talking about them competing for the Eastern Conference Finals, which they should, and they don't even have a starting 5 yet.
Yeah.
Give them a little time.
All right. Well, there you go.
Hopefully Derek's got good news for us.
All right, Derek's coming up in a second. What else do we have here quickly, JP?
Yeah, guys. Let's talk real quick about our friends over at Shady Rays, ladies and gentlemen, because it's summertime. And guys, it's 4th of July week. I know we're all ready for this weekend. It's so much fun. And we're all heading down the shore. We're going to pool parties, barbecues, whatever it may be. But guys, I want to make sure you guys are having fun, but also you're protecting those eyeballs and staying stylish. And no better way to do it than with our friends over at Shady Rays. Guys, I'm a big sunglass nut. All right, I have so many pairs at home. And the difference with Shady Rays and some of the other companies that I love is that, look, they have great quality sunglasses, right? You're going to have your eyeballs protected. You're going to be stylish, but you're not going to break the bank. And that's the important part here, especially in today's day and age. We're all trying to save a buck or two, and you could do that with Shady Rays now. And another cool part about Shady Rays, guys, look, we've all been there. You happen to lose your glasses. You accidentally sit on them, whatever it may be. Now you lost your sunglasses. What Shady Rays will do for you is that they will replace them for you. Guys, nobody's doing that except for Shady Rays. And don't take it from me. Take it for over 300,000 people that have rated it 5 stars or more. All right. Who am I? Nobody. Take it for the 300,000 people who've rated it 5 stars or more. And we got you covered, as always, with that promo code, guys. Right now, you can see it right now at the bottom left of your screen here on YouTube. Use that promo code, PHLY. That'll get you 35% off. Guys, 35%. 35% off your next pair of sunglasses over at Shady Rays. All you got to do is head on over to shadyrays.com, plug in that promo code, and 35% off. Boom, it's gone. All right, guys. So for this upcoming summer, if you're looking to stay stylish and styling and profiling, consider Shady Rays, Johnny boy.
Oh man, you're not kidding. All right, so let's talk about something very near and dear to my heart because I'm a snorer. This is for real. Sleep Healthy PA. They're committed to helping Philadelphia residents stop the snore and find solutions for sleep apnea that allows you to rest well and improve your health. I have sleep apnea. I do. And I went to a professional, and I never went to Dr. Cohen, but I can tell you, reputation is excellent. And if you have sleep apnea, trust me, this is a big deal, right? You don't realize the type of sleep that you're getting or not getting if you have sleep apnea. And forget about what it's doing to your partner, your wife, whoever, your significant other. And that's why you should give them a call. So think of sleep apnea, it's like a garden hose with a kink. That's what's happening, and that's what causes snoring. And Dr. Andrew Cohen, board certified in dental sleep medicine, and his staff, they work one-on-one with you to provide first-class care that will meet your needs. And physicians that just do the CPAP machines, trust me, that's not what you need. And if you have a CPAP and you're like, man, this is difficult, and I tried a CPAP and it is not fun. Listen, they're based in Jenkintown. They're doing it with a dental solution. So he's worked with years to educate dentists across the country on his personal approach to helping those with sleep apnea. His team's committed to stopping the snore. Tell him PHLY sent you. 15% off your initial workup. It's a 2-hour initial exam split into 2 sessions. Information gathering, medical history and imaging, review results, and share recommendations. So if you're experiencing sleep apnea, if you're snoring, if you look for a custom solution to stop the snore, it's Dr. Andrew Cohen. SleepHealthyPA.com is the website. Check it out, SleepHealthyPA.com, or call 215-337-2501. If you tell him PHLY sent you, he'll be very happy. You'll get that great discount. So if you're a snorer, check it out. Trust me, it can definitely help. All right, Bodner's coming on here in a second. I see yesterday I took VG's Olipop.
Yeah, I'm glad you got your own today.
But today he put it on the other side of the table, so I couldn't reach it.
Violation from or yeah, 2VG or violations, Greg, I should say.
Yeah.
I got to look out for my own gut health.
I know, but I looked over and I'm like, oh, so he's not even going to let me steal
too.
it.
We're a little slim. The fridge is getting an old bear. We're blowing through these. So I got to defend my gut health.
That's true. VG's not in a sharing mood today.
No. Well, not with this Boston sympathizer over here.
I'm a Nick fan. I'm not a Boston sympathizer.
I know, but Nick.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I like the team. I like the construction of the team. Let's talk about it. All right, shall we? We're going to bring on our ace, because what can the 76ers do at this point, right? And this is the big story. And it's brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY. Stop into your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today, as Derek Bodner joins us right now. What's up, Derek?
Not much. I'm doing well. And JP, buddy, I heard your ad read. I just want to push back. You are absolutely not a nobody. Don't ever sell yourself short like that. Your word means a lot to me.
You are the man, Derek. I appreciate you, brother.
I didn't even hear you say that. I was getting ready to open up my Olipop and everything else.
He's over here looking at Nick's Reddit.
All right. So let's just start off right there. Let's just start off right there. Like, the strategy from Daryl Morey, this is obviously a couple years ago, was he was going star hunting. He wanted a big 3, and he got it. And I applaud him, because where the Sixers were right now, it's a slam dunk, it's a home run. But looking back at it, I like the way the Knicks have constructed their team. I like the non-go for 3 stars and then try to construct your roster with filling in veteran players, et cetera. How do you feel about the whole strategy of the Sixers?
So I think there's no one way to build a roster. I think someone like Jalen Brunson being paid so much under what his market value is gives you more flexibility to go the depth route like that. When you have a starting point of Joel Embiid at $50 million and you're going to have to max out Tyrese Maxey, I'm not sure you can necessarily sustain the depth that the Knicks have. I do think that Brunson contract gives them a huge competitive advantage, and that's part of why it makes sense to go in on Bridges, because he is also well under market value for the next 2 years. those two allowed them to keep depth, which in the new CBA and the aprons and double aprons and all this nerdy stuff becomes much more difficult to do than it's ever been. So I'm not sure the Sixers could have replicated that, but I think that is a good way. I think some people will look at that and say, all right, but when you get in the playoffs, half-court offense, if you overload on Brunson, do they have enough creators to contend for a title? They'll obviously be very good, win 55 games, be a contender, but can you get over the hump? I think a lot of people will still say you need more shot creation from your stars than maybe they have, and that you should go the star route. I think Daryl Morey, for the most part, believes that. I think he believes that his team has more championship upside than the Knicks do because of the star talent they have at the top. For the most part, throughout most of NBA history, I think stars win championships, and if you have a chance to pursue a star like the Sixers did this summer, you should go for it. I do think the new collective bargaining agreement and all of the restrictions that come along with that changes that equation a little bit, but I still think this was the best path forward for the Sixers.
So why didn't the Clippers, to me, it felt like by not offering him that 4th year, the Clippers more or less were making an offer they thought he was going to refuse. Do you agree with that? And why would the Clippers let him walk if he's this valuable piece?
Yeah, I mean, look, there was certainly no uncertainty over whether, certainly no uncertainty. Probably could have phrased that better. There was no uncertainty that Daryl Morey would offer a 4-year max contract. That's been known across the NBA for months. The Clippers certainly knew that in the final days. The fact that they didn't budge or offer, they had a line and they wouldn't cross it. And I think a lot of people were curious whether or not they would eventually cave. They didn't. Look, what I was just saying about the new CBA is very real. It's not just anymore like, back in the day, if you wanted to keep the Kevin Durant Warriors around, you could just pay a $200 million tax bill and you could do it. Nowadays, that comes with also very real team building restrictions on what kind of moves you can and cannot make. And I think they just felt like having 3 of those max guys, because it's different for the Clippers. They would have had 3 guys on 35% max contracts. That's coming in about $12 million per year more than, let's say, Tyrese Maxey's contract, which is only at 25% of the salary cap. Because of that, it becomes tougher to keep 3 of those, and it will be for the Sixers to keep their 3 stars. So I think that's probably part of it. They just felt like this was the right way to go. And it's interesting that they would have gone a 3-year, but not a 4-year. But that's there. And look, like I said, a lot of these restrictions in terms of the salary cap and what you can do now, they're real. Like the Sixers are going to be in a spot where it's going to be real tough to execute moves down the stretch. Clippers just decided that wasn't the best path forward for them.
All right. So before the roster, we talk about roster construction from here. Tim Bontemps of ESPN says the following. I wonder if you agree with this. The Sixers now have the best big 3 in the NBA. It's really not that close. They can go toe-to-toe with the Clippers. Do you believe now with Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, that they are a serious threat to the Celtics? And do they have the best big 3 in the NBA?
Yeah. Look, certainly on paper, in terms of talent and how well they fit, I think you can make a case. There are big 3s, whether you're going in Denver and Murray and Jokic and whichever one you want to make the 3rd in that group, or whether you're going Boston, that have proven more and have a much longer track record, obviously. But in terms of how well they fit and how much talent they have, it's certainly up there. The problem is those other teams have depth, especially Boston. Boston has like historic depth, especially in today's NBA, and the Sixers have like Ricky Council IV. And like, I love Ricky, but he's not ready to compete at that level. And they have to now go out and try to build that depth. It's going to be real tough because of all kinds of restrictions I've been talking about. I think they're big 3. If you had to pick one thing, you would love maybe one more elite perimeter shot creator, because I don't think Paul George is as good at creating his own shot and creating shots for his teammates as he was when he was in his mid to late 20s. I think that's one area where you can see he does start to look a little bit like he's 34. He still has an elite jumper, still a pretty good defender, not as good as he used to be. But in terms of getting the rim, putting pressure on the rim, and creating for others, you would like to have maybe a guy who can do that outside of Tyrese Maxey, because Tyrese Maxey isn't necessarily a true point guard. He doesn't feel the game like a point guard does. He's improved, but he's not quite there. I think if you were looking for one weakness, that would be it. But I do think this is a very good core. It's just, can they now supplement them with the pieces they need?
All right. So how do you fill out the roster? Oubre's back 2 years, $16 million. He was a very good player for the Sixers last year, so I love that. Eric Gordon on the minimum contract. Where do they go from here? Explain the financials, the cap situation, and what else the Sixers can do at this point.
Yeah, so they basically have like 1, maybe 2 significant moves left. And when I start saying these numbers, like a starter in the NBA gets $20 million a year now. That's just the way it is. So if I say you have like $10 million, you're gonna have your work cut out for you to get a true legitimate starter. They have Paul Reed's contract. Paul Reed is scheduled to make $7.7 million. That contract is non-guaranteed. If they waive Paul Reed, they would have about $9 to $10 million in salary cap space to work with and go out and try to pursue one of the remaining free agents on the market. It's not just a free agent they could pursue with that. They could then take basically accept a player in a trade that would come into that cap space. There's a little flexibility in that regard. That's key because they still have 4 first-round draft picks that they can trade. They can also then go over the cap, so spend like the remaining $3 to $4 million that they have in space, and then trade Paul Reed. And because of salary matching rules, you can basically trade Paul Reed for, trade his $7.7 million non-guaranteed contract for a player who makes up to $15 million. So that gives them a little more flexibility and the kind of player they pursue. The problem with that is it would hard cap them at $178 million in team salary. And I think Daryl Morey would like to avoid that. There are also then completely basketball nerdy options out there of a sign and trade with KJ Martin, which would basically give him a balloon payment and would avoid hard cap restrictions. We don't need to get into all that, but there's a move there where they can take back about $15 to $17 million in a trade in that capacity as well. So there's a couple moves out in front of them. A lot of it comes down to, do they want to try to navigate that hard cap of $178 million? Like I mentioned, that would be tough to field a 14-player roster under, but those are sort of the pathways forward.
Hey, Derek, I saw a thing where one of the betting sites had the Sixers as favorites to land Marcus Morris Sr. again. Do you think he's a fit for this roster?
I mean, they certainly need a 4. And I think that's probably their biggest need right now is a bigger forward, somebody who can still space the floor, but who will also give you a little bit on the glass. I think that's probably their biggest weakness right now. So I think he's a fit in that regard. Look, Marcus Morris defensively, I think, is really bad. And I think that was the biggest problem I had with him when he was here earlier. I do believe he can still shoot and give you an offensive punch. I believe he'll compete on the glass. I wish he didn't take away quite as much defensively as he does. But if we're talking about like a minimum type signing, then you're not going to get necessarily a player that I'm 100% comfortable with anyway. And he does have the requisite skill sets that they're lacking. So I think he could be an option, sure.
So if they take back that with the Paul Reed, if they do a trade for a veteran for $15 million, that puts them at a hard cap with less flexibility.
Yeah. And one of the names that's been brought out because they're blowing it up, Dorian Finney-Smith makes $14.9 million. He would slot right into that. But because of that, they would be, like I said, you'd be hard capped at $170 million in team salary. If you just kind of math everything out and add Dorian Finney-Smith's $15 million to it, add a couple minimum signings, they would be like right around $180 million. So they'd need to find a way to shave some salary. It would get real tight real quickly.
Derek, real quick, I want to talk about the backcourt because obviously the one thing everyone's talking about is just the size of it. Obviously, it's not the biggest backcourt. Could you see Kelly Oubre kind of slotting in at that too, or what could be the plan there with that backcourt?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the benefits of Paul George is that he has handles and shooting like a guard and a perimeter-oriented player. So you can put someone like Kelly in there who's maybe not a knockdown shooter, maybe not somebody you would necessarily run offense through with his handles or his court vision, but he has the size to defend multiple positions, 1, 2, 3 for sure, and the athleticism that you want. So yeah, I think Paul George right now, unless there's some significant moves, I think Paul George and Kelly is going to be the starting wings. How you want to classify that, I'm not sure it necessarily really matters all that much. I do think because of Paul George's versatility, it makes something like that a little easier to do.
Are you shocked that D Melt got more than Kelly Oubre?
Well, in terms of this year's salary, he got more, but in terms of guaranteed money, he did not. And I think that's the thing with Melton. I don't think anybody really wanted to go more than 1 year with him because of the back issues. I don't think anybody knows what they can rely on, but when you're talking about a 1-year deal, the damage to that isn't all that much. So it makes sense to me that he would get a little more on a 1-year prove-it deal, but no long-term offer, because I do think that back scares a lot of teams off, and rightfully so. That's a really tough injury to come back from. He struggled to come back from it last season, and you don't know what you can rely on. So, like, I was expecting maybe somewhere in the 1 year, like $7 to $10 million range. So some team giving him the full mid-level for a year. It's a little more, but it's not shocking. Like I said, overpaying for 1 year, I think teams are generally okay with. It's the multi-year contracts that they're conservative with.
Hey, Derek, because I really have little understanding of this. Can you give me like a Cliff's Notes version of the aprons and the limits with the different first and second aprons?
Yeah, there's a lot. And quite frankly, I would have to look them up. And quite frankly, it would take a long time to explain every one of them.
Okay.
So there's the first apron, which is at $178 million. And that becomes a hard cap if you do a series of moves. One of the moves would be acquiring a player in a sign and trade. So let's say the Sixers wanted to, I'm not even sure who's a free agent that could be. So let's say they wanted Klay Thompson. Clay's off the market, but we'll just use him as an example. And they wanted Golden State to sign him and trade him to the Sixers. If the Sixers did that, that would hard cap them at $178 million. They can't go over $178 million at any point this year because of it. There's other moves, like one of the moves that we were just talking about, where you trade a player and then receive more salary back in return. So basically the trade leaves you increasing your salary threshold rather than decreasing it. That move hard caps you at that first apron too. So that's why the Paul Reed hypothetical, where they would trade out his $7.7 million, bring back Dorian Finney-Smith's $14.9, that would hard cap them at $178 million. And then there's another apron, a second apron, which becomes much more restrictive. And once you do that, you can't like combine salaries in trades. So like you can't trade two players for one players. You cannot sign players on the buyout market if their at salary before they were waived was over a certain point. It becomes really, really, really tough to make almost any move that isn't just like signing a guy on a minimum contract. And that's the one that teams are trying to avoid pretty much at all costs. It becomes almost like a hard cap, which the NBA has never had. So that's sort of like the quickest rundown I can give.
Is there a way to get around? Can they do Paul Reed and a first round pick to lessen the impact, or no?
Nope, because it's still the outgoing salary. The salary they're sending out would still just be Paul Reed's salary, and they'd be getting more in return. So that would be a hard cap.
Okay.
All right. Well, listen, Derek Bodner, I don't know if you'd be willing to co-sign this, but our intern Versace is trying to get Ben Simmons back in Philadelphia. It's a movement.
It's his favorite player.
It's still his favorite player, not 2018.
I brought this up on our Sixers show back in February, and my thing was I would take Ben Simmons back if Mikal Bridges came with it. That was my condition. Now, obviously, Bridges is no longer a possibility, so I'm pretty out on Ben Simmons. I will say what I'll say about Ben, because I think a lot of people think he just doesn't care about the game. I've never seen a player commit defensively like he did who didn't care about the game. I think he's just terrified of failure, and that's where the whole jumper problem comes from. So I think a lot of his defensive-ness and aloofness almost comes from that. So I almost feel bad for him, but I also don't want him on my basketball team. So, and here's the thing. And he was a world-class defender, one of the best in the league when he was in his prime. He's had real back issues. He doesn't move like he used to. So not only do you not get the offense, but the defense isn't near what it was. I think it's time to move on from that experiment.
He is shot in multiple ways there, Derek Bodner.
Yes.
All right, buddy, what time you guys on today?
I believe we're on at 2:30, although I'm not even sure what day it is anymore, but I believe we're on at 2:30.
What day is it? Is it Tuesday? It's Tuesday.
I think we've spoken for like 10 hours over the last 3 days or something like that. That's why.
2:30 pending any other moves there.
Yes. In which case, Vince will have us on in a second. Yeah.
Yes. All right, well, go have a ham sandwich or something, and we'll see you at 2:30.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Derek. There he is, Derek Bodner.
A ham sandwich?
I don't know.
You don't like ham?
It's 9:43 in the morning.
Dude, that's
Not
the
to
European
us.
breakfast.
It's lunchtime for us. Jeez.
Ham and cheese on the croissant, I'm in.
Yeah, you don't like ham sandwiches?
I don't touch the swine.
Oh, cause no. But are you full blown vegan? You
All
only eat meat?
poultry,
No, I do
all
poultry.
fish.
Okay.
The fish.
No red meat.
No red meat, no pork.
Okay. Well, good for you.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes I hate it.
I eat all
Smell
those
of
things.
bacon in the morning is fantastic.
The coach Jimmy Lynam's going to join us coming up here, top of the hour, 10 o'clock. We'll talk to Brad the Brain coming up here in a second.
Cam.
Let me say, I love Jim Lynam. It's going to be so
He's
much
the
fun.
best.
He is the best. For Brad the Brain joins us here coming up in a second. What he said about Ben Simmons there really is like, and obviously I did sports radio for a while in Philly, and when you're on the air every day, you remember every story because like you got to talk about it every day. And the Ben Simmons thing was, as much as you knew that he was using the whole back thing as nonsense, and he was just saying that because he didn't want to come in. The whole reason he didn't want to come in was because he was friggin' terrified. I mean, this dude was so cooked in the head, and it all started with Hack-a-Ben, which was at the end. Now, do you remember it was like towards the end of the regular season, and then in that Washington series, they started fouling him. He was scared to death to take foul shots, and that was it. Game over. When a point guard that won't shoot, but he's a playmaker, and he was very good in transition, could run the fast break. When now he wants to just get rid of the ball as soon as he has it, that's a problem. And he's a max player that more or less is an offensive liability, and he was totally cooked in his head. And then he has real, like when you have back surgery, you're not making up an injury. It's not, where you're saying, oh, my hamstring hurts again. He has real injuries. He's sorry, Versace, but
who started that? Was that the Hawks with the Hackaband?
The Wizards.
It was the Wizards in the playoffs.
Guy Brooks, coach.
I remember them. I remember in the end of the regular season, they were starting to intentionally foul him because he was struggling at the foul line. But I remember in particular in that they were legitimately just fouling him. He was coming across half court and they were fouling him. And it worked, and he got scared. And he never recovered from that. Yeah. It's amazing because he was an incredible talent, Ben Simmons.
Everything would be quick, though, with him. He didn't like the half-court offense.
I kind of think it all started before that, though. He had a chance. He could have played at any of the blue blood schools, and he went LSU under the radar. Not Duke, not Kentucky.
Yeah, but like the thing was that, like Derek said, like he did some things like defensively, he was phenomenal. Like he had a vision on the court that was great. And now like VG, like he lost all of that. Like obviously the back injury definitely affects him, but like now he's not that world-class defender that he was. He does that. He just lost all his confidence on the court as well. It's crazy how someone could just fall off like that.
Well, he did. Well, let's go to Brad the Brain. And
Brain. Brad the Brain Feinberg.
And Brad is always brought to us by Bet Parks. Check out all the latest odds in Bet Parks app, as we have done last night, this morning. Brad, what's up, man? How are you?
Good, my friend. I got to ask you a question, John. Whose fall was worse, Ben Simmons or Carson Wentz or RG3? They're like the three guys I always think of that were – it seemed like they were great, were on a great path. And then I guess injuries, obviously RG3, but he was so good that 1 year, and Wentz was going to win MVP. And Ben Simmons, look, you're right. He had, 4-5 good years in a row, let's be fair, before it happened. It's just crazy that it just fell that much. And again, lets you know how much the mental aspect of basketball or any sports can affect you, right? I mean, remember Ricky Ankiel, the pitcher? He won Rookie of the Year. Then the playoff game against the Braves, he threw like 7 straight balls against the backstop, and never pitch again.
And it's amazing he was able to recover and be an above-average outfielder.
Yes.
But
I give him a lot of credit. So he obviously has a lot of mental fortitude to do that. But man, Ben Simmons' fall from grace. Again, it's hard to decipher, John. Right? You think about how much is the back, how much is just mentally what you guys were talking about, the hack of Ben, and it obviously just he couldn't. And I think it actually says something what you said about the LSU thing. Like I think that does show a little bit to your DNA of who you are, what you can handle, what kind of things you want to do. And I don't think he ever mentally was up for being an elite basketball player.
Nope.
That's just my opinion.
And it's a great question with the Wentz and the RG3 thing, because for me, RG3 was it was injury, and then he wasn't built to take the pounding of being a running quarterback in the NFL. But Carson Wentz, for a lot of that, he was injured. Mentally, it was the same thing with him. If you remember his last year in Philly, he was seeing ghosts. He was seeing a rush that wasn't there.
Yes.
He had deteriorated physically because of the injuries, but that's not what happened with Carson Wentz. He got cooked in the head just like Ben did.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, again, you look at it. What year was it that he had this MVP? The year they won the Super Bowl. Was that his third year? Right. Was that his third year on the team? Fourth? It was probably one of the two, right?
Second? Was he 2000? Yeah, he was 2016. That was his second year.
Oh, that was only his second year? Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Okay. But it's crazy. If you think about a guy who's theoretically, and again, I always try to think of these things. That's the way my brain works. But like Deshaun Watson, I guess maybe was the fact that he was a top. You think of Deshaun Watson now, you kind of think he stinks. But just 2 years ago, every team was trying to trade for the guy before, even though, but obviously the horrible things he did. But my point being is he really fell off a cliff. And it's just interesting. Usually when guys are that young, you very rarely see them have the fall from grace that a Ben Simmons had, a Carson Wentz had, a Deshaun Watson had. I don't know. I always find these things, studies, how much is physical, how much is mental. And I would always love to talk to these guys like, okay, what happened? Like, what was it? Were you mentally, everything changed? I always find it fascinating.
Yeah. Cause it happened. When it happens, sometimes it happens quick. And it happened quick with those guys. Even 2018, Carson was still a good quarterback. They made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Remember, he got the concussion in the playoff game against the Seahawks.
Yes,
the Seahawks. What's his name?
Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, and it was a cheap shot. He knew what he was doing. I don't care if the league finds him or whatever.
And then who was it? Josh McCown came in.
McCown came in and he tore his butt muscle or his hamstring.
I know.
The game was pretty much over at that point. But Carson was still an effective quarterback. He wasn't the same player that next year, but he was still an effective quarterback. They were still a good team. But then from there, it slowly, and that's why I think it was mental and the whole being a leader and being a quarterback and the teammates, that stuff started to fall apart as well.
Did you see remember he left Indy? John, do you remember? I don't know if you remember. This is almost unprecedented. The owner of the team came out and was like, he's off our team. Usually you don't have ever. There's like a whatever you want to call it. Like, okay, I'm not going to throw you under the bus. He's like, Carson's off this team. It made me think, okay, was he that bad of a teammate? Because usually, look, they lost that last game. If you remember, to the Jaguars, they needed to win to get in the playoffs. The Jaguars were like a 3-win team, and Wentz had an epically bad failure. And again, but as I said, it lets you know sports. A lot of it is in between your ears, probably, obviously physically too, but. These things are, interesting case studies of how, the fall from graces of certain athletes.
All right. Well, the brain, Brad Feinberg, joins us, and the grind is brought to you by Bet Parks. So Phillies are back in action tonight, right? In Chicago. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, the start of a road trip. So the Phillies kind of reeling right now. It's not often. You think about the injuries that they've sustained, and forget about the Braves losing the Cy Young favorite and the MVP favorite, which is significant.
Amazing.
But now the Phillies have lost Trey Turner for a significant amount of time. He's back. JT's on the shelf. Now you have Schwarber and Bryce Harper. You have 3 All-Stars that are out of the lineup at least for the next couple of weeks. What do you expect for the Phillies in Chicago? And what is the betting lines telling you on what you like to do?
I think Wisniewski, I don't have it right in front of me right now, John, but I think he's a slight favorite today. When I last saw the Cubs are a slight favorite. Look, I mean, I think it's what you said, in my opinion. You talked about they just have to get to the All-Star break and hopefully, tread water. To me, 500 in these games isn't a bad thing. I know they're on pace to win 100 games, but to me, if they can just go 500 without these great players, to me, that's a good thing. Look, the Cubs have been awful. It's funny. I'll be honest, I thought the Cubs were going to have a much better year. I like getting a manga from Japan. He's actually been good. And I thought getting Craig Counsell, a true manager that's had a lot of success with Milwaukee, was going to make this Cubs team potentially a really good team. But they've been, in my opinion, John, and again, we're not in that Chicago market, I think the Cubs have been right up there as the biggest disappointment in all of Major League Baseball this year. Their over-under was around 85 wins, and right now I think they're on pace to win closer to 75 games. They've been extremely disappointing. So Cubs pitching staff, outside of really a manga, has been horrible. So I think the Phillies, even with a depleted lineup, I would only lean Philadelphia today. And in general, I think Philadelphia should be able to hopefully win this series, because I think the Cubs have, as I said, been right up there as the biggest disappointment in all of Major League Baseball.
Take your 76er fandom out of it. If you're placing a bet to win the Eastern Conference Finals and it's not on the Celtics, who are you betting right now?
It would really be close to me between Philly and New York. I'll go Philly, though. And I'm not just saying, again, I'm not just saying it. I think it's close, though. I think clearly Boston, even without Porzingis for a few months, whatever. But again, I did like, again, getting Drummond, because I think, again, if I was running the team, and again, I stay in my lane to what things I know and don't know, but if I was running the team, I would make everything, John, I know you have to agree with this, everything, we have to get George and Embiid healthy for game number 83, right? Yep. Like not 1 through 82. 1 through 82, if I said to you who won game 79 of the Sixers last year in the regular season, you don't know. You won't. The Celtics, what did they do in game 56? Who knows? Who cares? But who won game 5 of the NBA Finals, right? That's the only thing that matters. And so you're going to make the playoffs. You want to make a top 6 seed, obviously. You don't want to have to be in the play-in game. I get that. But if you're a top 6 seed, I got to be honest. I think it's almost irrelevant of what your record is. You're paying for your salary, so to speak, to get through 82 games, and that's really it. You just want to be healthy. So I don't know how they have to do that with Embiid and Paul George, get them healthy for game 83. That's the only thing I'd be looking at. So to me, I would be focusing on that and that exclusively, because if this team is healthy come the playoffs, John, I don't know how they can't really be a tough out. And I like re-signing Oubre. I thought that was an important piece. And by the way, Tobias Harris, 2 years, $52 million. I will go as far to say, this is a true story. Hand on the Bible. I saw that. I actually started choking on my food. I saw Tobias Harris 2 years. I was thinking like 2 years, like maybe like $8 million combined, like Andre Drummond money. When I saw, I'm like, who are you bidding against? Who are you bidding against? Who is paying Tobias Harris $52 million, Sean?
The Pistons.
Hey, Brad, JP and I saw on Twitter, like, he's going to make over $300 million as an NBA basketball player.
Shouts to Tobias' dad, by the way.
Yes, the greatest agent in basketball.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like I always say again, if you're the Detroit Pistons, it's like, okay, you want to add this guy, that's fine. Okay, I get it for your situation. But why are you paying this guy 2 years, $52 million? Like they said there's only two other teams, like Utah is not going to pay him. And then one other team, I forget who it was, they even had the cap space, I think it was Orlando, to even pay Tobias Harris any kind of money. This is what I'm talking about. Like, what I love about sports so much, it's a meritocracy in terms of, right, like Michael Phelps was the best swimmer. He got to prove it. Joel Embiid's like one of the best basketball players. He gets to prove it. You can't like block guys from showing their greatness. But when it comes to running a team, it is anything but a meritocracy. I don't know, right? Who's the Pistons general manager? I don't even know who it is. But that to me is gross negligence.
Trajan Langdon.
Trajan Langdon. All right, well,
so
obviously
they had a minimum salary cap they had to meet.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then I stand corrected.
It's such a Tobias Harris move, too, because he knows they're going to win 10 games the next 2 years, and he's happy as hell to go up
9 now that he's on the team, John. Now it's 9 now that he entered. Was 10. Was 10. But anyway, I mean, what can you say?
We're brought to you by the BetParx app. Get in the zone with BetParx Sportsbook app. Money is in the moments. What events are coming up? What's your favorite line or underdog? Win big with all-day action. Win your first $10 bet. Earn $125 in sports bonus bets. You play for fun. You love the win. You bet. Download the app. Play along with us. Must be 21 or older. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You know, violations. Greg VG here bet against USA last night, and he's very proud of it because he won.
That's the name of the game. Listen, let me ask you a question. Before you rip him, let me ask you a question. Are they paying for his bills? Is anyone on Team USA taking care of VG? Is anyone doing something for him?
This is where I learned it all from you, Brad.
There you go, man. I love you, man. No, but listen, by the way, two things. I needed a pair of binoculars to watch the game last night. Did you notice that?
Oh,
yeah.
Wide view.
Horrible camera.
And then it's funny. I was back here, my HD, don't ask how, it was like broken. So I was trying to watch it on standard definition. I swear to God, it was so bad. I was like, I couldn't see anything. But man, that was just a weird referee game. At least, but that was disappointing to say the least.
Perfectly refereed.
Yeah, right, exactly. Perfectly refereed. I like it.
Well, the money, Brad, the money does not know where it comes from, right? Yeah. That's the main thing.
The money's not know where it comes from.
So,
I like that line.
Brad?
What do we got today?
I got a couple things.
Gibson?
No. It's our old friend Kyle Gibson. We're going to take his over. We're going to back Kyle Gibson, old veteran pitcher. Kyle Gibson's 12-3 this year to over 16.5 outs. The best line in the world right now is at Parks, 16.5 over -127. Best line in the world, most are at 17.5, but 16.5 outs at Parks. Best line in the world, as I said. He's 12-3 this year, and when you look at Kyle Gibson the last 3 years, he's 49-32 to this over. 49-32. I said 12-3 this year, and here's the other thing about it. He's going against the 25th ranked Pittsburgh Pirates offense. Pirates offense stinks. Great pitching, but they can't hit for you-know-what. Kyle Gibson should get his 6 innings and get out of Dodge. I like that bet very much. I definitely think he gets his 6 innings. And then, look, the Red Sox have been playing great. They've been playing great offensively. Cutter Crawford's been their second-best pitcher after Tanner Houck. I like them in the 5-inning line, laying a half run. I believe the juice was -1. I'm going by memory. I think it was like -122. they're pitching Valente Beloria, minor league guy from the Marlins. Wasn't even good in the minors. Look, I know the Marlins played pretty relatively well against the Phillies, but I think the Red Sox will be leading this game after 5 innings. I'd rather lay like closer to $1.20 on not have to lay a big price of 170 if I'm wrong on the game.
Mm-hmm.
They just have to be leading after 5 innings. Crawford's a good 5-inning pitcher. I think they'll be winning the game, and the price is right, so I like Boston in the 5-inning line.
Nice. Hey, let's not talk about chances for the Sixers to make the Eastern Conference Finals. For the championship, they got the second best odds, plus 800.
Yeah, it's
let
crazy.
me see you bet it on there.
Plus 800.
Oh, go for
I
it.
got my 18-1. I got my 18-1. So I was ahead of the game before the move got announced. That's what you had. A lot of these things, and again, I bet Oklahoma City to win the West because I knew they were going to get Hartenstein, and then those odds lowered. You have to. It's not, if you see something's going to happen, you just have to be a few hours early, and then you beat the line until it becomes official. And then you can get some good prices and stuff that, if you're just on top of this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why they call him the brain. Brad, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks, man.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great day, guys.
All right, there it is. And, we talked about Bet Parks. What about Parks Casino? The Femmes of Rock play classic rock on violins. VG is very jealous. It's very cool. They headline Parks Casino this Friday night. Sebastian Bach, former lead singer of Skid Row, his solo tour headlines on Saturday night, August 23rd. Southern Rock of the Marshall Tucker Band. Australian Pink Floyd, September 7th. You see what I'm saying? A lot going on there. How about Live with Snooki and Joey? They're coming back to Parks Casino, right? Again, also comedian Michael Blaustein, October 25th. All at Parks Casino, the #1 casino experience in the state of Pennsylvania. Parks Casino, this is how you win. They have it all, and it's definitely my casino of choice. 3,200 state-of-the-art slots, 115 live table games. The poker room, which I played in many times, is amazing. The dining options are extraordinary. The Parks Grill Steakhouse, Liberty Bell Gastropub and Beer Garden. Delicious sushi hand rolls at Mambu Noodle House. And New York's best comedians every other Thursday at the 360 Lounge. Cover bands all weekend. What are you waiting for? Parks Casino. Visit parkscasino.com. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Must be 21. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. JP.
All righty, John. All right, now let's talk real quick about Rite Aid, ladies and gentlemen, because it is summertime. You're going to need your quick stop, right? It's going to be Rite Aid this summer, all right? And for all your pharmaceutical needs, consider our friends over at Rite Aid. With a My Pharmacy account at Rite Aid, you can refill your prescription, schedule a vaccine, get personalized care recommendations, sign up for prescription notifications. All you need to get started is a prescription at Rite Aid. Get started today at riteaid.com/mypharmacy. Stop stressing about those prescriptions. Let Rite Aid refill them automatically. Enroll in automated courtesy refills. It's free, easy, and most prescriptions qualify. Talk to your Rite Aid pharmacist or sign up through My Pharmacy account at riteaid.com. Restrictions do apply. Get your prescriptions at the same time with one-trip refills. Ask your pharmacist to sync your medication so you can pick them up with one visit, and you can even sync them with your other family members as well. Just ask your local Rite Aid pharmacist to get started here today. And again, restrictions do apply. Manage prescriptions with the Rite Aid mobile app. Transfer your refill prescriptions, set up medication reminders, enroll prescription notifications. All you got to do, if you have a smartphone, download it on the Apple Store, or if you have an Android, download it on the Play Store. It's that quick and easy. Transfer your prescriptions to Rite Aid today. Just go to riteaid.com/transfer. Rite Aid caring pharmacists are ready to answer your questions and help you stay healthy. Get your prescriptions along with anything at Rite Aid you may need, including over-the-counter medications, household products, cosmetics, and much more. Best believe with this upcoming weekend, we are going to stop at Rite Aid for at least something. Just ask your pharmacy team for details here today. And again, restrictions do apply. So guys, whatever you may need this upcoming summer, especially this weekend, consider our friends over at Rite Aid. John.
All right. Thank you, JP. The coach, Jimmy Lynam, is going to join us here, but the Anthony Gargano Show presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY or stop into your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today. As the coach is ready for us right here, this is a treat to talk to Jim Lynam. Coach, how you doing?
How you doing, guys?
Good. When Jimmy, when I think of you, a lot of things come to mind, and we'll talk about what the Sixers did here with Paul George in a second. But I can hear you saying, "Oh, that's just Charles being Charles." What was it like coaching Charles Barkley? Now we're looking at 30 years ago, 35 years ago. What was it like being the head coach of Charles Barkley?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing I'd say is he was one of the best players to ever play in the NBA. Very, very unique player in terms of his style of play. And as you've come to know, a very, very unique guy. I stole a line and I said, and I told Charles this on a number of occasions. To coach Charles Barkley, it takes a village. But the rewards were, more than evident. He was a consummate competitor. He was loved by his teammates, and those two qualities. I understand they're not statistically on the page, but they're huge in terms of having your leader, your key guy, your horse, in terms of carrying your team forward. And when it comes to those types of things, Barkley was the best.
He was some kind of player. So you were an assistant in Charles's second year, third year in the league. I remember, Jim, Charles early in his career, he would get the rebound off the glass, take the ball off the court, dribble behind the back and go in for a slam. He was like a one-man wrecking crew, especially early in his career. He could do everything.
Yeah, he was a little bit, ahead of the curve. People don't maybe appreciate, even back in the day, like what a well-rounded player he was. He wasn't a great shooter. He was a decent shooter, but he was a tremendous ball handler. That he pioneered like in a post play really since the inception of the game, even by the great post players. Basically they were one, maybe two dribble moves. Barkley, he'd dribble the ball. There's a rule now in the NBA, 5-second back a guy down rule. It's a violation because of Charles. But with his big frame and his really good handle, it wasn't like fancy, but he just knew how to like maneuver, put the ball in one hand, had a tremendous spin move in the post. So yeah, he was ahead of his time in terms of his all around skills.
Yeah, he sure was. All right, Jimmy. So what do you think? 76ers, obviously they signed Paul George. They've added some other what appear to be important pieces in Andre Drummond and Eric Gordon, and there's more moves to be made. But what do you think about the move to sign Paul George?
Well, Paul George, I think most people would agree, was the best player out there. So if you're looking to improve your team in free agency and you can land the best player, I think it speaks for itself as to what they did. And I understand that, some people will quibble how old he is. I think where the Sixers are right now with Maxey and Embiid, you have to say they're a legitimate contender. And if you add a player, all you have to do is look at Paul George's line of statistics from this past season with the Clippers, arguably his best offensive season of his career. So when you add that with Maxey and Embiid, then you can justifiably walk out and no matter who the other team is, look across the court and say, let's throw it up. You're ready to go. It's not because of lack of talent, that we're going to be in trouble in this series, which is what we're talking about with the Sixers. It's not about the regular season. It's about the postseason.
Yeah. Was lack of talent the biggest issue for you in the Sixers? Listen, they're still trying to get over the second round hump, and they've been close. But to think that this team, as talented as it's been, has been as long as it's been, still hasn't gotten to an Eastern Conference Finals. What was missing with the team before, and does Paul George kind of solve that?
No, the answer is no and no. It's not lack of talent, and no, Paul George does not solve the problem. The problem, and I think you're going to agree with me, the problem is a healthy Joel Embiid when the bell rings. As I think I heard when I was fussing here to get on and listening to you guys, somebody said it's about game 83. That's a great statement. That's the deal. Joel Embiid, for whatever reason, I think a lot of it is just bad luck, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm going to give you the one injury, and I'm bad, like with respect to nailing the year. But Markelle Fultz late in the season is running a pick and roll, and as Joel is setting the pick, he bangs him with his elbow and breaks his eye socket. I mean, come on. Yeah. When's the last time you saw that one? But Joe is, he's a very active guy. He's a huge guy. Yes, he might be a little bit injury prone, But I think there's a lot of bad luck in there. It's not a lack of talent. Like, I'll cite the series the year Toronto won it. The Sixers are right there. They lose that series on a bounce, Kawhi jumper falling in. Sensational shot by Kawhi. But that's a team that goes on to win it. And the Sixers, lose at the buzzer in Game 7. So I think they've been. Maybe I'm a little higher on who they have been over the years, but there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that the reason they haven't performed to their capabilities of their regular season play in the postseason is because of Embiid's health. So they need him healthy come the start of playoffs.
Yeah, and Jim, I don't want to call him injury prone because you're right. That was a freak injury, but he's so big, it's hard for him. He takes, and as you said, he's so active. So when you play that kind of way, and I don't think he's reckless. Sometimes when he goes to the floor hard, you wish he didn't do some of these things, but it just feels like to me injury is going to always to be a part of Joel Embiid as a player. I just don't know what you can do. Like you had said, Andre Drummond, you try to keep him healthy, but a lot of times these injuries are just happening. And it's hard to put a guy in bubble wrap to preserve him when you never know when it's going to happen.
No, you make a very, very good point. The way he plays, the more active guy is. Well, the injury this year, when he was out for the prolonged stretch, he dove on the floor for a loose ball. And quite honestly, I can almost, play fly on the wall here. There will, if they haven't already, there will be conversations going forward, in terms of like players can like protect themselves to a certain degree. I'll tell you what Joe has improved on. Remember in the early years of his career, he used to dive into the stands trying to save balls. He doesn't do that anymore. Well, likewise, Joe, we don't need you going to the floor to recover one loose ball. There are 200 possessions in a game, 200 plus, okay? We can give them that one. We don't need you on the floor. And obviously, he's going to be if he decides to dive for a loose ball, he's the first guy there because he's the quickest guy on the court. His reactions are incredible. But in the byproduct of that is the second guy is landing on top of you. Yeah. So those kind of injuries, I think, Joe's a very, very bright guy. Like when you show him footage of plays, his ability to grasp, he gets it in a hurry. So they need a little bit of luck, but I just have a feeling that that this year might be the year, where he can go into the playoffs at the end of the year much more healthy than he's been in the past.
How hard is it because now, we all know you have 3 stars, Maxey, Embiid, Paul George, Oubre's back. So now you're able to add some role players, but it's also probably guys that haven't played together, right? Just when I watch the Sixers, I see the talent, but I don't see the intangibles that maybe I see in some other teams, right? Where it felt like the Knicks out-efforted the Sixers last year. It felt like the Knicks wanted that series more than the Sixers did. Maybe that's just my perception, but it just felt like they got the offensive rebounds. They made the second chance, third chance, fourth chance shots to where, I need more players like that. It's great they added Paul George. He's a fantastic player, but I need guys that played more like the Knicks played last year. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, that's you're right on target. It's an interesting point, and I think that was one of the best, if not the best, series in all the playoffs. That was a great series, the Sixers-Knicks. But to your point about the way the Knicks play, the Knicks' strength and the reason they beat the Sixers, you hit it right on the head, was offensive rebounding. And teams in today's NBA, with all the threes that are shot, the rebounds aren't falling as much around the basket area as they did back in the day. So balls are hitting off a missed three, and they're heading back out toward the 3 line. And the Knicks had the type of team, where they could pursue a ball. They fly to go get a ball that's heading out. And that's an exciting brand to play. A lot of teams don't like to chase down second chance points, meaning missed shots. They're fearful if you're running toward the basket to go try to secure a second shot, you're not back on defense. And they worry about that. Well, guess what? The Knicks could care less about that. We'll get back on defense once you get the ball, but we're not going to concede that ball to you. When we miss a shot, we're going to try. In fact, we anticipate missing shots, and they have tremendous physical ability out on that perimeter to go after those kind of shots. Even like Dante DiVincenzo, I'll take him by way of example. A terrific NBA player, a terrific shooter. I'd call him like a pretty good athlete. He's not a great athlete, but I got news for you. He knows how to chase down offensive rebounds. And it's their style of play, and it's a philosophy. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's a very exciting brand of basketball.
Jim Lynam, you can't get more Philly basketball than coach here. West Catholic, St. Joe's, obviously the 76ers, not only is an assistant coach, a head coach, and then general manager later on. So, Jim, who in your playing days, in your early coaching days, who were some of the more talented or most talented players that you play with? Man, you're talking about Philadelphia basketball. You've pretty much seen it all. Who are some of the great ones?
Well, yeah, I really, growing up, obviously, now we're going way, way back. But some of the great ones, well, Wilt, obviously I watched Wilt on the playgrounds when I was a kid. And some of these guys I don't have to tell anybody, I don't think, who Wilt Chamberlain is. If you stand the test of that kind of time, then you're one of the all-time greats. And Chamberlain.
So let me stop you. So you used to watch Wilt on the playground when he's a teenager, maybe in high school?
Yeah, exactly. His high school years, probably his first time I probably saw him play. Tustin Playground is where they used to play, which is an outdoor court across the street from Overbrook High School, which is still there, which is a stone's throw from St. Joe's University today. Yeah, Wilt would. It's ironic. This is a true story. At Tustin Playground back in the days, they played first 1 to 11 wins the game, no win by 2. And when you lose, you're done. Meaning, when you walked into the playground, they yell out, "What's the number?" And somebody yells out, 14. That means there's 13 teams of 5 ahead of you. You're the 14th game. So when you lose, you go home. It's not like when Wilt loses, the next team picks Wilt. No. Next team got their 5. Wilt, go get your hoagie, dude, okay? He's done. Well, this is a true story. Chamberlain on the case. I watched this with my own eyes. He'd be playing. And say somebody yells, "What's the score?" Now, Wilt, obviously, his team wins virtually every game. So I'm going to make it up. Somebody yells 8-3, meaning Wilt's team is losing. At that point, Chamberlain decides to block. Are you ready? Every shot you take. Every shot. Now, when I tell that story to young kids at camps over the years, "Coach, what if?" I said, "Dude, there is no what if. He jumps up in the air, he catches your shot, and that's it. It doesn't matter where you shoot it from. You shoot a deep corner jump. You could shoot a jumper from 59th Street. He's going to jump in the air and catch your shot. And then he takes it on the dribble himself where he passes to somebody to go the other way. And on rare occasions, and John Chaney, rest his soul, the ex-Chaney coach, told this story, and I actually saw this one night. Wilt jumps and catches a jumper, right? And in midair with the guy's jumper, ready? He turned his body and he threw down a ferocious dunk into the other team's basket. And he turned and yelled, "Goaltending, score it." That's what he did. I watched it.
Wow.
So when I tell you Chamberlain was a whole other deal, trust me, I'm in the ballpark.
Well, he was a track and field star. I mean, you're talking about
Correct.
you talk about a guy that was like, for his size to be that kind of an athlete, it's almost impossible. He's a once not even a lifetime, once in a generation, once in everything.
Yeah, you just again, you hit it on the head. It was a combination, like I don't want to like misspeak or talk nonsense. It wasn't that he had like the skill set of a Jokic, no. But he was such a massive guy and so athletic and strong with that size, that combination. And literally, he was able to throw the players. And there weren't as many big guys, but there were big guys. Somebody like Nate Thurman, Bill Russell. I mean, again, those guys would play, in any era. But he was able to throw most of the players around like they were rag dolls because of his incredible size, strength, and athleticism.
Wow, it's amazing. I really appreciate a couple minutes here, Jimmy. It feels like a lot of these questions are self-serving because it's like me wanting to know this from you. My favorite Sixer team of your coaching era was the Bump and Thump team. So you had Rick Mahorn, Charles Barkley. I think the G-Man jumper, Mike Jaminski, was still with you at that point. Andre Turner, Ricky Green. What was the best team that you had? What was the closest you came? Because you were going up against Jordan every year.
Yeah, that team was our best team, the team that you just cited. And we couldn't get by by Michael and Scottie Pippen, obviously. Ironically, Detroit was able to, but Detroit couldn't beat us.
Right.
But I think that year you're citing when we had our best team, I think we beat Detroit all 4 times. But in the playoffs, we played Chicago, and we couldn't beat Jordan. And I should say Pippen, because I'm a huge Pippen fan, and he's justifiably one of the top 50 players that have played in the NBA, in my opinion.
Yeah, what was it like going up against Jordan? Watching, what people will say is the best player of all time.
Yeah, it was very difficult. LeBron is a good, it's a great conversation. Is there a 1 versus a 1A between the two of them? But there are a lot of parallels between the two of them, and it would start with both of them, like ferocious competitors that even us on the sideline watching night after night have difficulty appreciating. I mean, they're incredibly competitive. They just, I don't know how to quite explain it. Like they want it all, and they bring it every night.
Jim, appreciate it. Happy 4th of July. Hope you're enjoying your summer. We'll talk soon.
Okay, nice talking to you.
Thanks, Coach. There he is, Jim Lynam, just Charles being Charles. LeBron James, the best talent between him and Wilt. But if you're going modern NBA, LeBron James is the best talent in NBA history. The best winner in NBA history, which means the best player, would be Michael Jordan.
Amen.
VG and JP agree?
I agree.
Nah, Jordan's the best talent.
No. I disagree.
So, LeBron might be third after Bird.
Well, but listen, VG, people sleep on Larry. People sleep on how good Larry Bird was. Larry Bird was an excellent rebounder. He was before his time in how he was able to shoot.
Maybe the greatest passer.
An amazing passer, a great handle on the ball. And you know what? I'm telling you, like when I talk about players that I want on the Sixers, championship type players, I need guys that are a little bit dirty. I need guys that are like, you know what? We're going to lose with me. And I don't like the Joel Embiid cheap shot type stuff. That bothers me. But I need a team that has a little bit of an attitude. Bird, I hate saying it because I hate the Celtics.
I know we've just gotten you on to. You just got a TikTok account, right?
I did.
So I've been stuck for some reason. My algorithm the last week has given me Larry Bird trash talking clips and all the old heads saying that he was the greatest trash talker. And the stories are legendary. There's I've been 40 deep in these stories of Larry Bird just trash talking people.
Only because you guys told me about Larry Bird and killing the Sixers, I just purposely don't even look at those highlights.
Hey, Chief in the chat room says the best winner is Bill Russell.
Well, he has the most championships. I don't know if that means
maybe
he's
it
the best
him the
winner.
best player.
I can't go back to the 30s or whenever.
He just had good will talk back at the playground.
Well, because he's from Philly.
Was he 10 inches taller than everybody else too back then?
Dude, yes. No, it was. They changed the rules because of Wilt Chamberlain. They literally are like, he scored 100 points in a game. Look at his numbers one year. He averaged 50 points a game and was it 30 rebounds?
Rebounds was unlike anything.
Remember that the Chinese girl we saw on Twitter? It was like that.
There's a high school girl
7'9".
China. Yeah, 7'9". Yes.
And he's only a 3-star recruit to Florida, but he's 7'9".
It's a woman, right?
Yeah. No. But there's we're talking about
7'3" woman.
Yeah. She was towering over these other girls. It was crazy.
Wow. All right. No, there's a 7'9". He's going to Florida. 7'9". He's grown.
You say Florida though, it's
he's a 3-star
Old
recruit.
Dominion.
Well, he's a 3-star recruit.
Right.
So I'm saying he's not a 5-star recruit. I don't know if he's going to develop into an NBA player. That's what I'm saying. But to be 7'9" is. I remember Sean Bradley was 7'6", and it's holy crap, man. Manute Bol was 7'7". Now these guys didn't have great offensive games. I don't think this guy's a great offensive player.
It's hard to be coordinated at that size.
But the videos of him in high school, because he grew from 7'3" to he was 7'6". He grew 3 inches in his last year. Yeah. Imagine being in high school at 7. He went to IMG Academy.
Okay.
So it's not like he was going up against my high school where the center was 6 foot, but still it looks like he's playing against children when he's 7'6" and he's going up against guys that are over a foot shorter than him.
Yeah, also, what's going on in France? Did you guys see this draft? Like all these tall players that they're producing with handles, they can move up and down the court effortlessly.
They got a good PR team out there in France or something. There's
what
no
it is?
reason their basketball system's better than ours here. Give me a break. It's something about PR marketing. Maybe they got good TikTok, Instagram accounts. I don't know, but come on.
Eat your baguettes, ladies and gentlemen.
The Olympics are coming. Let's see what we do to France in the Olympics.
Oh, snap. Now VG's all USA, baby.
Yeah.
Now he's a patriot.
In basketball, yeah. Not soccer. Come on.
Oh, man.
Here's my tweet of the night last night. Someone put a tweet out that encapsulated the U.S. men's soccer team program.
Oh, it's bad.
It's bad, yes. Give me 2 seconds. The U.S. men's soccer team has to be the most consistently overhyped, underperforming team in the history of any sport.
Yeah. I mean, dude, they have good
So we're
talent.
talking basketball.
Well, basketball,
We'll steamroll
obviously.
France.
Yeah.
Christian Pulisic is like one of the top players in the world.
Yeah.
But he's not like top 15.
And Uruguay took his milkshake and drank it last night.
Wow, VJ.
Awesome. More soccer talk. Just what I'm.
That's what the chat room's loving.
So I was.
Wait till we get into Philadelphia Fever, the old indoor soccer team talk.
Hey, give me the kicks. Give me the kicks.
It's one of those sports that was never able to get it going a lot like arena football and major indoor soccer.
Whoa. Arena football, we're like 4-time champs here.
Big soul
Philadelphia
guy.
Soul.
Bro, they just folded. Some teams folded in the middle of the
Yeah, but
season.
that's like our winningest franchise in the
No,
last
it
4
doesn't count.
decades.
It doesn't
Philly
count.
Soul.
What was that?
quiet.
I was at Chickies and Pete's on Friday. There's still a lot of soul memorabilia in there.
Yeah, 'cause Pete was a part owner.
The Soul's getting me fired up. I need an Olipop.
There you
All
go.
right.
It's popping off, guys.
All right, we're gonna go to the clubhouse coming up in a second.
Yeah.
But let's first hear from JP. What's up,
That's
JP?
right, guys. All right, guys. I know, listen, we're all talking about how the Sixers are going to manage their money and figure out the rest of the squad. No. You shouldn't be worrying about that. What you should be worrying about is how you're going to manage your own damn money, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why we're talking about TrueMark Financial. Because, guys, with the credit union, you don't have to worry about finance anymore. They are making it much more simpler here for you guys as well. All right? And so, guys, managing family finances includes budgeting for kids' sports leagues. Create a separate budget category for sports expenses to track costs effectively. Involve kids in budget discussions to teach financial responsibility. Guys, that's big. That's big. Going on a group trip for away games like myself, it's still easy to keep track of your spending with mobile banking. Mobile banking apps offer convenience for managing finances on the go. Features like card locking provide added security and peace of mind if you lose your card. Guys, I'm telling you, that's such a big thing. We've all been there. We all have those scares where we lose our card. It's such an advantage to have that button so you can just lock your card. It's so simple. Preserve your savings and get access to funds as needed for big renovations, education expenses, or emergencies. And TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender. For more information, guys, one of two things. You can either go to truemark.com/PHLY or TrueMark Financial is headquartered right here in Fort Washington, right here in the area. They have 24 branches in this area here as well. You can walk into any of those branches. There will be a clerk there ready to answer any questions you may have. I know finances is a touchy subject, but guys, get ahead of it here today with TrueMark Financial. And while we're at it, guys, real quick, it is currently 10:28 here in the morning here on the Anthony Gargano Show. We want to thank you guys for tuning on in. If you're enjoying today's show, we're having a lot of fun here. Make sure you guys hit that like button, right? Subscribe for not only us, but all of our great beat shows here at PHLY Sports. And then, of course, guys, we're available wherever you stream podcasts as well. Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it. You can subscribe there as well. We would appreciate if you leave a rating for the Anthony Gargano Show. Here's what's on the docket here at PHLY. Following us at 12 p.m., PHLY Eagles will be live at 2:30. Our PHLY Sixers team has been putting in some hard hours. They'll be live at 2:30. Hopefully, maybe we'll have another move to talk about at that point. At 4 p.m., PHLY Flyers as NHL free agency is underway. And then tonight, following Game 1 against the Gubbies, our PHLY Phillies team will be going live following that game. You guys see at the bottom left of your screen, guys, make sure you are diehards, all right? Diehard subscription is phenomenal, guys. not only are you getting exclusive content from all of our beat writers, especially with free agency for both the NBA and NHL underway, you want to make sure you guys are becoming diehards to get that in-depth exclusive analysis from Charlie O'Connor, Kyle Newback, Derek Bodner, whoever it may be. They got some great stuff up on there as well. You get the access to the Discord chats, some great communities that we have on there. And then, of course, guys, you get the discount on merchandise. And this is big. You know why? Because we just dropped our Mitchkov Mania t-shirt. This thing is beautiful. I can't wait to get my hands on one myself, guys. So make sure you guys are becoming a diehard. Make sure you guys are checking out PHLY Sports. And that is what we have here on the docket here today.
Well, thank you very much, JP, as we're going to move into the clubhouse here in a second. And the Anthony Gargano Show, presented by Rite Aid. Find all your favorite goods from the store nearest you. I got a couple things before we get to VG's Nugs. But I just want to, we talked about it yesterday, and then the guys in the group chat send a friggin' TikTok video, and I can't view the video without signing up. The commies are very smart. All right. They don't allow you to view the video. Every other forum, you can view the video without having to so I had to create an account.
I didn't know this, by the way, John.
I'm officially on TikTok. Yes.
Finally,
I'm officially on TikTok. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I watched the video that you sent, VG.
Yeah, and you go through, you like a couple videos, and the algorithm will take over from there.
You're a Gen Zer, man.
Best algorithm in social media.
Now you got to get the broccoli haircut.
I had it, and then I deleted it. I had it for like 10 minutes and then deleted it.
Oh, so you don't have it, Andrew?
I don't have it now.
Oh, good.
I was at a New Year's party, 2019 going to 2020, and there was a dude who I trusted with a lot of business things. He was like, yo, JP, you got to get this TikTok app. And I was like, dude, I don't need another app. And then 2020 happened, and I was already on it, so it came clutch.
See, I'm an Instagram Reels guy. You're going to get the same content on the Reels as you are on TikTok. So why do I need two when I already got
boomer? Boomer's on Instagram.
I mean, I already got it all in one.
It's about your but
Instagram.
then it's like Facebook and Zuckerberg, and you hate Zuckerberg, or it's Elon Musk and Twitter.
Facebook.
Well, I mean, that's Instagram. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
or
no,
the commies with TikTok.
It's a little bit different because every time, I don't know about you guys, but every time I go on Facebook, it's a high school reunion. I'm sorry, Cherry Hill, but I don't really care what's going on from the high school people.
I deleted my Facebook. Well, there you go. All right, so
Instagram Reels.
Dude, they're the best.
Yeah.
No, dude, because Instagram
like
Reels knows I'm a
MySpace.
fat ass.
What's wrong with MySpace? I
Yeah,
still
you still
remember my
hanging out on
MySpace.
MySpace?
No.
What's that guy? He's still your top friend?
Tom.
Tom.
You can see, I did a radio show in
His only friend.
2005 and 2006, and you can still see some of the photos from it. It's still up there.
Oh, that's cool.
Man.
Do you guys remember the song you had playing on your page?
No.
No,
I had
never
a couple
song.
different ones. Was anyone on AIM? Guys use the AIM
Oh,
Messenger?
yeah.
No, see,
Yeah,
I'm actually too old. That wasn't a thing until after I was out of high school. So I never actually used AIM, but everybody out, the rest of the world did. I just missed it. But I actually Googled Tom from MySpace not too long ago. I don't know why. Oh, because I saw it on he was on Instagram or Twitter, and it was the same stupid picture of just.
That's how he's known.
No, I know. And I was like, what the hell's Tom doing now? He very wisely took all the money that he made from selling MySpace to
Such a
Rupert
smart
Murdoch,
man.
and he's lived an extraordinary life.
Yeah.
As he should.
Yeah, that's
Kudos
what I
to
would
him.
do too. That's what I'd do too. All right, so I don't know if you guys are big on. Mom, you're calling me while I'm on the air.
Mom.
Well, thanks for watching, Mom.
So the Nathan's hot dog eating contest is July 4th every year. Have you guys watched it before? It's on ESPN or ESPN.
Yeah, of course.
a while, but I've
So you
watched
do
it.
American
year.
tradition.
Every
Andrew?
year.
Yeah, you have to.
I do too. All right. So I didn't know if you guys were too bougie to watch. I actually enjoy it, right? But so Joey Chestnut, who is the undisputed king of the hot dog eating contest, Kobayashi, he beat him, and Kobayashi semi-retired, right? So
beat him into retirement.
So Joey Chestnut has been thrown out of the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, if you haven't heard, because he has aligned himself with a vegan hot dog. You'd be very proud of this. But it's not the sponsor of the contest. So they're like, hey, you can't do this NBA Nathan's. And he's like, well, why not? So they're like, all right, you're out of here. Now, Joey Chestnut, who, by the way, is a major dick. He's one of the biggest. And I haven't experienced it, but I know people that are in media, producers in radio and things like that. This dude thinks he's really, really important. And he really, really is a big
He's
time.
not.
He is not.
He's our greatest competitive eater. He's like a world champ.
Yeah,
he's
but
like a Muhammad Ali right now.
USA.
Yeah,
Eat those
come on.
dogs.
If you're the best basketball player on the planet, it doesn't give you an excuse to be a jerk to people, right? But at least then you would be like, all right, well, he's the best basketball player on the planet. He's LeBron James or whatever. This guy dunks freaking hot dog buns in water in a pitcher and then slams them down his throat.
Can LeBron James do that?
No, he can't.
I'm all in.
You can't. Anyway, so Joey Chestnut did something very smart. I don't know if he went to Netflix or Netflix went to him, but Kobayashi says, hey, Nathan's hot dog eating contest, I'm bigger than you. And on Netflix, a Kobayashi Joey Chestnut showdown on the 4th of July.
Let's go.
We're watching this over the Nathan's one, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes. I'll say that I'm more
Wait, they're
interested.
not both on the 4th of July, are they?
Are they not?
I
thought
don't
they were
think so.
competing.
No,
All
actually,
right.
it's September 3rd.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not even coming up?
No.
They're doing
Oh,
it
I'm an
September
idiot.
I was just
3rd.
going to say, it's breaking news. He's going to eat competitively on the 4th of July against soldiers at an Army base in Texas.
So maybe I got it
Joey Chestnut?
confused.
Yeah.
Dude, how patriotic, man.
That's what I'm saying. He's an American hero.
American hero.
Slamming down dogs.
Wait, have you
Some
guys seen
veterans.
him like train for this?
Yes.
It's pretty wild.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is.
He stretches the stomach.
No wonder why he went vegan. I mean, like those hot dogs would probably
He
kill
ain't
him.
eating the vegan hot dogs. He's just making
I don't
money
think
on
he's
making the money.
exclusively vegan.
He's not.
No, he's just signed on to
He's making money, which
promote them.
I'm totally fine with. He should try to.
Yeah, but
make
eating
more
that
money.
many hot dogs in your lifetime can't be healthy.
You ever
for
watch him do the soda chugs? He'll take a 2 liter soda and he'll drink it in one sitting, and he does the biggest burp.
Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we do this to ourselves?
It's crazy.
This guy is disgusting. I hate Joey Chestnut, but I like.
Tell us how you really
I
feel.
appreciate the fact that it's not just the big fat guy. Because when you think about eating contests, you think about the big fat guy that
Right.
shows up 400 pounds and eats a pizza in 5 minutes
Joey
or
looks
whatever.
like a
It's
normal
not like
person.
that anymore. All right, so it got me thinking.
Okay.
If PHLY held a hot dog eating contest,
Good job.
and who would win? What would the odds be? Because I'm not saying we can get it done this year.
Okay.
Maybe when Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut have maybe you could do it for them. But I say going into next year, there should be a hot dog eating contest, get a sponsor, and have all the PHLY personalities involved. So I ask everybody.
We'll get Hatfield to sponsor.
Exactly right, man. Why wouldn't they want to be?
Hatfield, Mama
Yeah.
Dietz.
There we go.
There's tons of opportunity out there. So who would be, if you're looking at PHLY personalities,
Oh man.
who would be the favorites here? Just right off the top of your head. And I think VG and I are aligned in the same spot for sure. And we may or may not have a graphic here. I don't know when we want to
Yeah,
put it up.
I'm
but
going to pull it up in a second. Yep.
There's
So-
one PHLY personality is like the bagster of eating.
Yeah, but does that give you the advantage? Just because
Yes.
he eats a garbage can, does that mean he's the fastest
He's
eater?
a high volume guy.
So we're talking about the bro
bro.
Jamie Lynch from PHLY Phillies. And I think
Yeah.
he's
Love
on
you,
this show
Jam.
next week.
I got the odds up if you want me to show.
All right, yeah. So let's just see it. So these were my odds. Again, you have to realize that, like,
Oh, great
like,
graphic.
I had VG.
Oh, man. What is this? On Microsoft Draw?
It's iMessage.
I had VG. So let's go over them quickly. All right, Jamie Lynch, 4-1. I was told that he should be like minus 300, not
Yes.
4-1. But we at least agree that Jamie Lynch is the favorite.
Easy.
Because Jamie, he's in on bits, so he would totally embrace this, and he also would. Because if you're going to win a contest like this, it's not going to be fun. These guys aren't having fun when they're eating these hot dogs.
So wait, is Bo Wolf and Zach Berman combined?
Yeah,
What
I
they
would
eat
let them.
combined?
Yes, and they're still 15-1. Correct. So Bill Matt's Broad Street Hockey is again another bitsman. He gets the bit. 5-1. Tyler Zully. Let me say this: at 7-1, he's got some height to him. I also feel like that just working with Jamie, he just to me feels like a guy that would impress.
I'm taking him out.
You're taking him out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
Frazier
because
will
Andrew
beat
Frazier's
him.
mad. VG at 8-1. Now, Violations Greg had said, "Oh no, I don't want to do this. I'm out."
I didn't say that. I'm just not a volume eater. I'll be full after 3 dogs. I just won't be able to do it. Do not bet on me.
All right. So if we did a 10-minute and no dunking, by
Yeah.
the way, the
Nah,
rules
man.
of this, no dunking. You have to actually put whatever you like your hot dog, how you like it made, how you like your hot dog. You probably like just
Mustard,
mustard or
some
something
onions.
that's weird.
Mustard and onions.
It's odd. But if you like whatever you like on your hot dog, like I would put ketchup and mustard and baked beans. Versace, our intern, actually made the list as well. You would not be. You would not be.
Intrigues
Don't
me.
underestimate Versace. He said he could do 50 push-ups in an hour, and he kind of did. In a minute. And he kind of did.
You know who I'm intrigued by? Newbeck, only because
That's who I would bet on. Newbeck is sneaky like
he's
that.
competitive.
Yes.
I don't know. I kind of like those.
Newbeck gives Jamie a run for his money.
Devon's not winning, but
Versace's $1,000.
yeah, like Devon would be like, hell no, I'm not doing this.
More than he's a
Bodner wouldn't even.
sophisticated guy.
He wouldn't even take a bite. Bodner would just be like, I'm not doing this.
Bodner would have
5,000.
some kind of weird technique similar to the dunking water. He's a smart guy. He'll
Analytical
figure something
dude.
out.
He's an analytical dude.
Oh, all right. So that 5,000 to 1 is a good bet.
Renee's very competitive as well.
Penny on that.
Former athlete, which is what I took into account. All right. So who are you betting? Let's go around the room here.
I like those Kyle odds, guys.
I laid it up with Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie's
Just
hard.
go.
So you guys are taking
chalk.
the safe route.
Yes,
I would bet on
pays the
myself.
bills.
Its volume does count, but also speed counts too, guys.
All right. So if you're doing a trifecta, let's act like this is the Kentucky Derby,
yeah.
which you could also do. Jamie Lynch, yes. Bill Matz. It's who you're going to pair up third. I heard Kyle Newbeck was thrown in there.
Newbeck. I go Versace. This kid's underrated. The intern has showed some spunk in here.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll throw it out.
So
on him.
Versace's a bit.
I think he could throw like 10 dogs down.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
He's competitive.
I think you
Okay.
started something. I think we should actually do this.
Yep. You were mad that I had your odds.
Well, you had VG over me. Like I
Yeah,
just
that's
well,
ridiculous.
Yeah, I would take Andrew over VJ.
yeah, and I could take on Zuli. I know that. for
Yeah?
sure.
Beers? I'm in on beers.
Oh yeah, beers.
Jamie will
That'd be
still
fun.
win, but I can come in a close second.
I'll take Bill over Jamie. I think.
Wow. All right. Well, how about those guys just do it and we watch? Because that'd be a lot more fun.
I've seen Jamie go like 12 hours strong. In the beginning, in that intro where we're at that NFC Championship game, we're like 12 hours in.
Well, so there you go. And by the way, if I was putting myself on the list, I am a volume eater. And
You
I can
are?
eat quickly.
Yeah?
Well, I can eat quickly more than I'm a volume eater. I can eat a pizza, and I may be able to eat it faster than anybody, but I'm more like a 3/4 of a pizza guy. I couldn't eat 2 pizzas.
John may be retired now, but John used to do this. You
I
used to
used to do
do
it.
this, man.
I can drink beer quickly, and I can eat quickly.
All right.
So there you go. So we'll have to set this up for
That was fun, John. I like that.
for later on. All right, did I have something
What
else?
was
here before we
Cuz's
get to-
odds, by the way?
Oh yeah, so Cuz was 25 to 1.
Does he even eat hot dogs? I mean, he's got such a peculiar palate. I don't even think he'll eat a hot dog.
See, I feel like Cuz would be eating French fries during the cut because
Yeah.
Cuz is
I don't know.
eating full.
He'd do it like
You're
an
right.
Italian sausage. I don't know if he's
Right.
doing a hot
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, he
Onions
would.
and
He would
peppers.
yeah, he would want too many different toppings. He'd be savoring the food where Jamie would be literally throwing up during the competition.
It's got to be on a roll from South Philly. You know,
Right.
He's not doing no potato buns.
I'm out on the dog.
All right, so Kyle Newbeck, I need to look at again one more.
Yeah.
All right, so one more thing, and then I'll hand it a few for your nugs. Ed Delahanty. Do you know the story with Ed Delahanty?
The name
So-
smells
So
familiar.
he's a former Philly
Okay.
of like the 1800s.
Wow.
Like late 1800s, early 1900s. All right. He's a Hall of Famer, batting champion, home run leader, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, with the Phillies. He died on this date in 1903. He was drunk and he fell into Niagara Falls, and that's how.
Oh,
That's
man.
like
In a barrel?
Man,
He wasn't in the barrel.
No, I think he just fell in.
Oh,
It was
man.
the story is he was intoxicated. And He fell
Wow.
into Niagara Falls.
What a way to
guys,
go.
Moral of the story: don't get drunk by Niagara Falls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there wasn't fencing up at that time. or
Probably. It's a little
whatever.
different
Have you
back
been to
then.
the falls?
I have.
I haven't been
Never.
back in like,
Yeah.
geez, like 23
Yeah,
years.
It's a little
Yeah,
underwhelming.
It's not worth the drive, but if you're
No.
passing through, it's worth. Like we were passing through. I forget where we were going.
Toronto.
Yeah, we were going.
What is there to
Yeah.
do with Buffalo, by the way? Is there
Eat
anything
some
to-
wings.
Get some wings. That's it.
It's not a real fun city. I've been through it a couple times. Yeah.
catch a Buffalo Bills game.
That's about what it is. Yep.
Yeah. There's a whole Rust Belt, like Toledo, Buffalo. They're just somewhat depressing.
Well, Toledo,
Yeah.
I spent a night in Toledo. Well, half a night in Toledo one time. So I was driving from Philly. My cousin was getting
Your
married.
stop off point was Toledo?
So my cousin was getting married in Charlevoix, Michigan. Charlevoix, Michigan is about as far away in Michigan as you could go from Philly. It's all the way up. It's a beautiful, so it's on the lake, but it's a 15-and-a-half-hour drive from Philly. And my mom's like, you can't drive all the way by yourself. So Toledo was like a halfway point, right? And I price lined a hotel, and I'm like, wow, it's a courtyard. This is a good price. man, there was pimps and prostitutes and everything that was there.
Dang.
What?
Well, like
Wow.
you don't realize that it's not a hotel with the inside. It's like you're going. It's like an outside. Like it's outside. Yeah.
Wow. Whoa,
So
whoa,
I was
whoa.
there till about 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, F this. I'm getting back in the car, man. I'm driving.
I spent many nights in Toledo. I used to manage a rock band, a metal band from Toledo back in the day called Lollipop Lustkill. So I was in Toledo quite a bit. I don't think I would make that a stop-off point. I'd probably go to Ann Arbor, like another 45 minutes north.
Well, I like the Mud Hens because they're a minor league baseball.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it felt like a good idea at the
For
time.
sure.
All right, VG, what do you got, brother?
MLB power rankings. Yesterday was Monday, so the power rankings all came out. And people like the Phils still, even with the injuries. Phillies are ranked number 1 pretty much across the board at every outlet. MLB, ESPN, Fox, USA Today, CBS Sports, and Sports On. It's good.
Well, I mean, so the Yankees have went. I don't know what they've done the last couple of nights. They were 2-8 at one point.
Yeah,
so
they were struggling. They were 2-9.
What's his name was screaming and yelling. So they're starting to unravel a little bit.
Yeah, all these teams go through these spots.
Yeah. And I think, obviously you never want to get injuries on any team, but, to have injuries, I think right now this is the best time because there's still so much more baseball left, and these guys are going to come back relatively quickly. So, them being here at the end of July, going into August and September, that's when you can really make your big push, and it's good timing.
Yeah, Dodgers have injuries too.
It's easy, and it's easier to do it when you're because, listen, losing Schwarber and Harper, and you don't have JT in there. That's significant loss. It's 3 All-Star starters essentially.
Yeah.
But when you have starting pitching, when your 4th starter is Chris Sanchez, who has one of the best ERAs in baseball, right?
He's in the top 10 in Cy
was
Young
at that
odds,
game.
I think.
Dude, that
complete
must
game
have been fun,
shutout,
man.
Yeah,
Friday
it was
night
great.
game.
It was great.
He was. He did. What did he give him? 3 hits and no walks. Had 9 strikeouts. I mean,
Yeah, 3 hits.
This dude. I mean, wow, man. Now, Ranger has come back down to earth a little bit,
2 games.
which
It's
you
only
had to
2
expect.
games.
Listen, I'm not telling you he's going to turn into Don Carmen.
Oh my God.
Charlie was right.
Sorry, Don. I didn't mean to. But it's tough to do over the course of a full year. Nola is going to give you the outings where he gives up a couple of homers and you get frustrated with him. Then he's going to have the other. So Nola's right there. And I still feel great about this team because of the starting pitching.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to expect some wrinkles throughout the season, and this is just a wrinkle. They're going to iron it out. They're going to figure it out, and they're going to get back on track, after the All-Star break.
Strom's given up some runs recently, and he pretty much hadn't given up anything.
Oh, my God. 1 game.
All I'm saying is that you can't expect these guys to be perfect every time he's out there.
Yeah.
See,
Wait, 62 games.
You're a Stepford Phillies fan. What is going on here with you?
He gave up 1 run in a month and a half. All right.
No,
he
but
had
it
1 game.
was 2 straight outings he had given up.
Strom did?
I think so.
All right.
Listen, so this week's not going to be – so I know the Cubs are kind of, declining a little bit over the past week, but it's still going to be tough out in Wrigley. And then you got the Braves this weekend. So it's going to be an
Braves.
interesting
You got
week.
Yankees coming, Dodgers coming. It's a bunch of fun. Hey, but anyway, Fangraphs has some good news for all of us. They have their odds on who's going to win the NL East. And the Phillies are a slight favorite over the Braves.
Just a slight favorite, huh?
Yeah, Phillies are 81%, Braves are 18%.
That's slight.
Yeah, everybody just have a gummy,
Have a gum.
have a bowl, relax till August.
I think this upcoming stretch with the Braves, the Dodgers,
It's huge.
there shouldn't be any measurements on it because the team is not complete. They're probably going to falter, obviously, against these teams. We just aren't there. But, I think if they are competitive in those games, I think that's what we can take out of it.
Competitive would be nice.
I don't even seriously, they just got to go 500 over this stretch. This cannot be a 3 or a 4 game lead over
you
the
go
Braves.
6-10
But-
or 4-6.
But that's how, and I'm just trying to look up on the BetParks app what the odds are for the NL East. But that's how you go from an 81% odds to win to a 65% odds to win if you lose during this stretch here. The Braves may have lost 2 of their best 2 players. They're still really good. Chris Sale's pitching at a Cy Young level. I actually was on with Anthony, and I sounded stupid because I was saying I didn't believe Rangers. I didn't think they had enough starting pitching to win. And look at the starting pitching; it's been the best in baseball. But I also thought Chris Sale was a huge addition for the Braves, and he's pitching at a Cy Young level. So
he'll get hurt eventually.
maybe next
I mean,
year.
that's what he does.
All right.
Hey, yesterday we talked about the Eagles getting slighted a little bit in top 10 offenses in football by NFL.com. So 33rd team, I know it's one of Anthony's favorite sites. They did an all NFC East offense. Of all the players, of all the teams in the NFC East, let's put together a starting 11. And they're all Eagles except for 2 offensive linemen and a CD Lamb. So how could this offense not make the top 10? When they're saying
that's
an all
ridiculous.
NFC offense, and you have
Crazy.
3 players out of the 11 who are not on the Eagles.
I thought they would put Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts, but that's right.
Yeah.
That's right there. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
But, I mean, it's official, too, because it's voted on by Instagram followers.
Oh, okay.
So,
that makes it official.
The
Boomer
It
app?
validates
yeah,
it.
the old heads on Instagram.
Yeah, watching the reels.
Oh man,
Love it.
yeah. The thing we were talking about yesterday, where the Eagles didn't have a top 10 offense, which is like
Insane.
yeah, but like I think it's a half troll job, half hey, we're not sure about Jalen Hurts, what kind of a player he is, but I would say that if there was concern about the talent around Jalen Hurts, because with Pat Mahomes, as we've learned, he doesn't need to have A+ talent, and Travis Kelce's a Hall of Famer, but you know what I'm saying. He didn't have great wide receivers, but it doesn't matter. And with Jalen Hurts, I think it matters a hell of a lot more than with some of these other quarterbacks.
The way I look at it, though, with this offense, like let's just say hypothetically something happens to Jalen Hurts, injuries, decline, whatever it may be. Kenny Pickett goes in as the quarterback. Like I still trust that offense because I just still think it's that loaded.
Runs the offense.
Yeah, I think he'll be.
Yeah.
He's not going to put up like ridiculous numbers, but I think he's going to be able to manage the offense.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're equipped in case he misses a game or two, which we've seen
He's
happen.
not a full scrub.
Yeah.
The Pickett's.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah,
Going back to
absolutely.
that graphic and having Hurts over Prescott, do you guys agree with that? Taking the homer out of it, do you guys agree that Hurts is better than Prescott, or do you think vice versa?
I like Hurts better than Prescott.
You do?
I'm not a Dak fan.
He just like Dax obviously has a lot of arm talent, right? But like that's the way I judge him. Like in those big moments, can you trust Dak Prescott? I as hell cannot. I trust Jalen more in those clutch moments because he did it in the biggest stage.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it the trump card.
Yeah.
I watched him go to the Super Bowl, not because the team around him was good, because he was great. I watched him in the Super Bowl I didn't think Jalen Hurts could play like that in the Super Bowl. Yeah, play Pat Mahomes. You take that freaking fumble out. You
win that game.
I mean,
left the
they
field
were
with the
literally
lead,
right
dude.
there to win that game.
Yeah.
And Dak Prescott, like the Cowboys are going to win 11 games this year, I think. 10, 11. There will be a playoff team. They still have enough talent on that team. Does anybody think about the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl or going to the NFC Championship? There's nobody that thinks that. And a big part of that is Dak Prescott.
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones is a big part of it.
Yeah, he's all in this year. They did nothing.
They haven't even been to an NFC
made no
Championship game
moves.
since we were in diapers.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think Hurts over Prescott. And I would love to see that performance that he had. That Super Bowl, I think, showed us what he is capable of doing. And I think he's going to get to that level this year.
I agree.
We got trouble at the border. It's a big topic.
Oh, it
Politics
is?
and everything. Apparently,
I hadn't heard it.
You know where we got troubles at the border at LAX. There's an Australian woman tried to get in. They deported her. They held her for like 12 to 15 hours and deported her. Her name's Billy Beaver. Apparently, she's a porn star, and they had questions about how she was going to support herself in America and what kind of money she had in her account. They held her for like 12 hours, and they ended up putting her on a plane back to Australia. That's Billy Beaver there. No reason. This is outlandish that they would not let Billy Beaver in, especially to L.A.
Nice.
Well, my question is, it's a pretty easy answer how she's going to support herself.
And here's the thing. This isn't the first time this has happened.
Really?
Yeah, a couple months ago, Michaela Testa, an OnlyFans woman creator from Australia, held for 2 days at LAX.
Do
and
they
then
just
sent
not
back on a
say-
plane and deported her?
Do they just not say what they do for a living?
They confiscate their phones. I think they're aware that their porn stars are OnlyFans. So there's like a war at the LAX airport. This border patrol people are crazy about porn stars and OnlyFans creators
Isn't LA
coming
like
into the country.
hub for all that stuff too?
Exactly.
Are they coming here to like meet up and make
If we're
content?
letting anyone in, let's let the OnlyFans and the porn people in.
Yeah.
OnlyFans creator. I love how.
Oh man.
Now, is there anything else that's created on OnlyFans other than than that. Like, can you?
You gonna tell me you don't have an OnlyFans account?
I do not have an OnlyFans account. You have an OnlyFans account?
Sure.
Imagine like you're like a chef and like you just go on there and like show your recipes and that's all you do.
I was mildly surprised how into TikTok you were, but I'm shocked that you have an OnlyFans account.
What are you talking about? I'm a healthy man trying to get by. You know,
I'm not ripping you for it. I guess I just didn't. I didn't realize. JP, you have an OnlyFans account, or you just use VGs?
I do not. Yeah. Come on. VG, let me get that password.
Share an account, let me get your phone for a couple minutes.
Well,
I
locked the bathroom door.
How's this on my account?
the creators are definitely, they're getting very, very smart, because the teacher does something and it's like, oh my God, she got fired, and instantaneously
the
10,000 people are now paying her to look at her photos.
Yeah.
So
Team Billy Beaver, let her in. Come on,
What
Border.
a great name.
Dude, that was a great line, VG. I'm a healthy man. I got to get by.
Come on, man.
I respect it.
Versace, you on OnlyFans?
Are you a content creator or just
Hey,
Maybe both.
That's the question.
Good question,
Maybe both.
Versace.
Yeah.
So could you have, if you had, do you have nice feet? Could you?
Nah.
Well,
I
that's
don't
feet
nice
finder.
anything. I'm like, oh.
No, so could you? So I'm assuming you could have, if you were like a good-looking woman, and you're like, you know what? Rather than get nude on OnlyFans, let me just show my feet. So wear like
you
a
could do that,
bikini
I'm
or
sure.
whatever. And there's probably
You could
sickos
do
out
just
there that are-
bikinis on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a special app for that. It's called Feet Finder. You can.
I have heard. I had
specifically
heard about
for
it.
feet. Yeah.
That you have an account for, but not OnlyFans?
Not an
Weird.
account.
Super
now you
weird.
can sign in as a guest. To
Yeah, that he knows.
It's not like TikTok.
He's an incognito on Feet Finder.
That's good.
All right. Well,
Hey.
thank you. I know who I'm texting when I need to check out somebody on OnlyFans.
I mean, yeah, sure.
All right.
I'll help you out. I'll guide you through. We need more beer in this city, so luckily they're opening up a second beer garden in Independence Mall. Because the other one on 6th Street, the Independence Beer Garden, it's packed.
Is
so
it too
now,
much?
yeah, on the other side of the street, on the other side of Independence Mall, on the 5th Street side, they're going to open up a little pop-up beer garden. Holds an extra 250 people. So if you're thirsty in Old City doing the sights, beer outside on a nice day is going to get a little easier to get.
This thing looks really tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That looks like it
really
would serve
tiny.
many people.
250.
Oh, really? Well, that's enough.
That's decent, right?
Now, you guys, I saw that Center City Sips is back.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I mean, I've experienced sips, not this year, but yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, I remember before. I think it was before Embiid was even playing. Embiid used to frequent.
I have a good Ben
Center
Simmons
City.
story with Sips.
Do you really? I think
Yeah.
like if you did Sips, especially in the first incarnation of it, all those guys were out there.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was out there.
Well, the story of mine is that we were in like Uptown, the Uptown Garden, and I was with my buddy. My buddy brought some of his girl that he was seeing at the time and her friends from Stockton. And so we were talking, and all of a sudden, my buddy loses not only his girl, but all the girls went to Ben Simmons' VIP section. And my buddy was like ready to go in there, like try to stand his ground. I was like, bro, you lost. Just let it go. And he lost them. Ben Simmons has them now. So that's my sip story.
the only shot he can shoot.
Whoa.
Andrew, you don't look like a Center City Sips type guy.
I've never been.
No.
Really?
Never
I'm
been.
shocked about that one.
I don't know.
In
I'm
your
not
early 20s, no?
I'm not like that high class, upper class bar.
Yeah, but
kinda
you were
guy.
single at one
Yeah,
point.
that was not high class.
I
That's
like
for
a-
sure.
City Sips is not high class.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
Like an outdoor
discounted.
fraternity party.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All our young professionals go and have a drink.
Young
Or two
professionals.
or
Get wild.
50.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Hey, how young is too young to do steroids?
Oh, geez, Louise.
All right, so if we're basing that steroids is okay to do,
Well, I don't even know about that.
so but I'm saying if we're saying steroids is okay to do, then I would think that you would have to at least
Well, I
be.
mean, you're familiar with Marlton, Cherokee High School. When I was going, that was the rumor. We're all juicing up.
There was kids
Cherokee
on
football.
my football team their senior year that I think
For
were doing-
sure.
doing steroids. I mean, I don't know
I don't think in high school you should be doing
why.
that.
It's like a 5-year-old.
There's Cody
doing steroids.
Copa's out here. He's on Instagram trying to promote steroid use at
terrible.
Trenbolone. He's 14.
That kid's 14,
That
VG?
kid all jacked up and veiny and weird looking is
Nah,
14.
dude, that's not cool, bro. Look at him.
14 is too young.
Imagine when he's 21. He's
Where's,
like
like-
he's 50.
Where's like the parental guidance
Right, this
on
kid
that
just
one?
Well,
living
how-
alone.
how-
Who's letting your kid do that? Come on.
So my question was going to be, what country does he live in?
I mean, Cody Copa, I don't know.
Well, because I'm saying if this is happening in the United States, he can't be 14 years old and promoting that he does steroids without there being some type of repercussions.
Yeah.
All right. Like
Have a
if
knock
you're
on
in,
your
if
door.
you're in, some third world country, all right, like, or I don't know, they're not going to care. But like and he's promoting it. It's one thing to have a 14-year-old and it's like, holy crap, is that guy on steroids? He's only 14. It's another thing for him to promote that he's on
Yeah,
steroids.
how about these bodybuilding / Generation and Iron and stuff promoting the kid promoting himself?
Oh my God. I hate to say this because I know like how bad steroids could be, but like baseball was so much better with steroids.
Oh,
My
yeah.
God. Oh man.
The
It's fun
juice
now.
era.
It's got back to it. It's definitely much more
Mark
entertaining.
McGuire.
Not a lot of people were complaining when those guys were all juiced up.
No.
But it also, one of the things that it did was when they couldn't do them anymore, fans are like, well, what the hell is this? Like what's happened to baseball? How come they're not hitting as many home runs? They hit more home runs in the last couple of years, pretty much every year, than they did during the steroid era.
Yeah.
Oh, they juice the balls now,
But-
instead of the people.
The difference is it was just home runs. There was no actually activity in the game. There was no action. It's like a home run or a strikeout or a walk. Back then, you got doubles, triples. Speed was a big part of the game. So it
Yeah.
wasn't just home runs. The games were really entertaining.
What's a swing angle too nowadays?
Yeah,
they like really
It's
work.
all about the long
They really
triangle.
work on that whole how you got to dip it down, bring it up. Or
Exit velo, launch angle. The nerds, the Ivy League nerds, this is true. They ruined baseball.
Yes.
They did. They came in because
I
it
agree.
works. I mean, these advanced analytics, there's a reason why they were working. These teams were winning. It killed the sport.
I mean, Moneyball never won.
It didn't.
Made you competitive though.
Yeah, competitive.
Yeah, but you look at if you look at the Houston Astros were into cheating, of course, but also like they were early analytics guys. The Dodgers very
Sox
analytically
too, no?
driven. The Sox, well, Theo
Red
Epstein
Sox.
was like the first kind of young. He was Yale Law School. He was young. That's when you started getting these young guys really without much the Dave Dombrowskis that spent 30 years in baseball or the Pat Gillicks, guys that are champions, that didn't become sexy. You wanted the young guys coming out of law school that did the analytics.
Yes. And cheating is better than analytics. That's what we learned.
We
from the
learned that with
Astros.
the Astros, yes.
All right, let's get out of here on a educational. I love the Twitter account. Nature is amazing. So let's do something a little nature and fun. Learning that a lioness mate 20 to 40 times a day when they're in heat. And if their partner can't keep up with them, they bite their mates on the balls.
Oh wow.
Look at this poor lion's face on the bottom.
He's like,
He's
no
done
more.
it 20 to 40 times and he can't keep up. He just wants to go home.
He's
And
so
look at the
sad.
lioness taking a nip at his private parts. He looks so sad,
He's
right?
so
He looks
sad.
very
He's like,
sad.
I'm out of here,
It's like,
man.
babe, it's been 39 times. Come
I just
on.
want to go home.
Can someone put the crying Jordan face on the lion? Because that's like a crying Jordan.
Yeah, man.
Face.
So
It's like
those
the dating scene in
lionesses
Philly.
can go at it 20 to 40 times a day. This poor guy just wants to chill with a steak.
Yeah, like, let me go lay by my rock.
Just trying to watch some Sports Center. Jeez.
Sit on the couch, enjoy your night.
Yeah.
I'm getting very
Let's go,
little.
BG.
I'm getting
Yeah.
very little info on this Cody Copa guy. Maybe I should have to follow him on. Instagram
You
or
looking to
something.
bulk up a little bit?
No, I'm trying to find out where he lives. I want to report him.
John by the week. Oh, welcome to the Anthony Gargano show.
Like next week.
He's gonna be shirtless in here, shoving hot dogs down his
Kurt.
gullet.
Yeah. No.
I'll
No.
beat you in the hot dog eating contest.
John hungry, eat hot dog.
I would get arrested for going online and texting him, asking him where the steroids are.
Yeah.
And they'd be
Yeah,
like,
you get busted,
I
like-
get busted.
Yes.
Yeah. So Philadelphia sports radio personality Jon Marks.
Yeah, trying to sell.
Talking with a minor online. What? Just trying to get steroids, people.
Yeah.
Crossing broads all over it.
All right. Well,
Oh,
so
dude.
12 o'clock today's
Birds.
Birds.
Our PHLY Eagles team.
All right.
I know,
Have a lot of fun.
2:30s. The Sixers. The Sixers team has been killing it during
Oh
this
my
free
god,
agent stuff.
dude.
Man, you're not kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start the GoFundMe, send them all on a nice
Yeah.
resort somewhere.
Yep.
Just fuel up on those ham sandwiches.
There you go.
Well-
BG's not a ham sandwich guy.
Well, because he doesn't eat swine.
Yeah, I like a good
didn't-
ham and cheese sandwich back in the day.
Oh, dude, love him.
Hot ham and cheese.
Mustard? Are you a mustard guy?
Yeah. Who's not mustard?
On a ham and cheese, you got to go mayo.
I'll do any type of
Oh,
mustard.
no, you got to go mustard. Spicy brown. And it's
Yes.
a ham and cheese sandwich for me is the best chip sandwich that you could possibly
Yes.
have.
Put
So
chip on it.
I will put chips on a ham and cheese sandwich,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm not a guy that goes in like, give me a bag of chips and eat a bag of chips plain. But with a ham and cheese sandwich, there's nothing better in the world. A salt and vinegar potato chip with a ham and cheese sandwich.
dude.
That's a good choice.
It's hashtag life, man. Man. All right, we're back tomorrow.
Back tomorrow.
Everybody. All right, thanks for tuning in. We will we'll talk to everybody tomorrow. Coming up next, PHLY Eagles, Birds. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.